the Board of Appeal will start just a few minutes late. We are waiting for our newest member who's being sworn in right now. And so give us a couple minutes. But just a reminder, when you're here to speak in support or in opposition to a case, please keep your comments directly on the project. And if somebody else has already stated your concern, just put your name and address on the record. Okay, so give us a couple minutes and we will we will actually start the full meeting. Thank you. Welcome our newest member, Marie St. Fleur. She's just, as I said a minute ago, that she's just gotten sworn in and is our newest member of the board. So welcome. Thank you. So just a reminder, please make sure your cell phones are off. And if you have any conversations, please take them outside of the room. The acoustics in here are not good. Again, in conformance with the open meeting law, I'm informing you that this meeting is being live streamed and will be available also after this meeting. As I'd mentioned before, when you're here to speak in opposition or in support of the project, we take everybody's comments under advisement, so please keep your comments to the point. Mr. Fortune?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first order of business will be the approval of the hearing minutes of September 12th, 2017 and September 19th, 2017. We need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Before we start, could we close that door back there? The acoustics is pretty bad in here. I'm going to call the first case on extensions, calling BOA 497987, 15 Priscilla Road. Right up front, sir. Name and address for the record, please.
I, Vitaly Khmelnytsky, address 15 Priscilla Road, Brighton, Massachusetts, 02135.
Please tell us why you're here.
I'd like to extend the variance, the permit by a year.
By year, when was it issued?
It was issued in November 2015.
November 15, 16, 17. Okay. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion for a one-year extension.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You're all set for 1 year.
Calling the next case, calling BZC 31702, 48 Drake Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Chair, members of the board, Attorney Derek Small. The business address of 15 Broad Street, Boston, Mass. 02109.
Mr. Small, please tell us why you're here.
We are here seeking an extension of the board's approval for 48 Drake Street, which was to create off-street parking for 2 vehicles.
And why do you need the...
The owner had a little bit of financing issues with regard to getting the money together to actually pay the driveway.
Okay, and when was the permit issued?
The permit was issued in 2012, and we had gotten one other extension prior to this.
So when was the last extension?
2015.
Okay, so it's still a valid permit. Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
For 1 year?
1 year.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Calling the next 2 cases, calling BOA 478235, 57 Sedgwick Street. There's also a companion case, BOA 478-232, 57 Sedgwick Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Minai Com, 57 Sedgwick Street.
So please tell us why you're here.
I want to extend the variance of, to build our backyard cottage for accessory dwelling unit,
And when was that approved?
September 2015.
September 2015? Okay, so you're still within your 2 years.
Yes.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to accept for a year.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So it carries, but please try and make sure the work is done.
Okay.
Okay?
Calling the next case on board final arbiter, calling BZC 32943, 531 East 2nd Street.
Madam Chairman, the board, I recuse myself from this.
Name and address for the record, please.
Patrick Mahoney of Adams and Moranci with a business address of 350 West Broadway.
Please, Mr. Mahoney, tell us why you're here.
We are here for final arbiter, Madam Chair, for 531 and 533 East 2nd Street. Specifically, 531 is the building that was approved a couple of years ago. And since then, the building next door has been approved at a slightly increased height. And that increased height has created a building code violation on our building for an excessive snow load. So what we're seeking here is to raise our height to match the building of 533 to the left.
So,
Everything else is the same.
so tell us on the plans, what are we looking at?
What you're looking at here is you can see the dark exterior metal cladding and an arch in the window. That was the previous roof line. And the building to the left of it is the also approved project that will be built together with this one. The shaded area that's about 7 feet up increased on 531, the project before you, to match the building to the left.
So basically, it extends the height violation,
It does, yes.
and that's by a little over a foot.
No,
Couple
it's more
feet.
than that. It's about 7 feet.
7 feet?
Yep.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Olive?
The drawings are adequate, and as the applicant has said, they now line up with the adjacent building.
And we do have BBDA design on this already.
Okay, so this is still valid because this looks like it was a 2013 project. You've had
Yes.
all appropriate extensions?
Yes, we do have an
Okay.
so we would, I guess, in addition to that, ask for an extension, because I believe it expires this month, and the permit won't be issued this month because I'm here before you today.
Has that been advertised, the extension also? Okay, so may I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the extension is for 1 year.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Calling the next case on G-Cod, calling BOA 752-846, 173 Endicott Street. This is to erect a 4-unit building with 4 parking spaces, which requires G-Cod. The violation is Article 32, Section 4, G-Cod applicability in the Groundwater Conservation Overlay District. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Daniel Toscano from Drago and Toscano LLP, 15 Broad Street, Boston, Mass. We represent the developer in this matter, Urban Court Development. To my immediate right, working in conjunction with Attorney Pat Mahoney on this matter. We're seeking your support for the GCOG issue. This is a 4-family residential building, new development in the north end of Boston at 173 Endicott Street. We have met all our, looks like our zoning dimensional requirements on this particular site. The only issue is in the groundwater overlay district. We have submitted our civil engineering reports to Boston Water and Sewer, and we are waiting for the no harm letter, which should come immediately. I think Attorney Mahoney will address the GCOG briefly.
Hold on, 1 minute.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Christian Simonelli, Boston Groundwater Trust. I'd like to request a hold for signature at this time as we continue to work with the applicant on the no harm letter.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to
Motion
approve.
to grant the relief requested with signature held until application is received.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with that proviso.
Madam Chair, members of the board, thank you.
Thank you.
Calling the 9:30 hearings, are there any deferrals or withdrawals for 9:30? Address, Counselor?
287, 293 Maverick.
For the record, calling BOA 725-789, 287-293 Maverick. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Richard Lins, 1216 Bennington Street, East Boston, on behalf of the petitioner, requesting a brief deferral. This is subject to Article 80. Article 80 process is ongoing. We still required to have our Article 80 meeting that's being scheduled by the BPDA. We expect that to happen relatively soon and have this finalized with the BPDA board.
May I have a motion, please?
And a motion to approve.
To defer.
Motion for deferral.
Is there a second?
I'll approve the deferral.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The date, please?
You have a date of November 14th. Gives you enough time, or is it not? That's the earliest we can get you in?
Later?
Later. December 12th.
Fine.
The date of December 12th, is it 11:30? 11:30, at 11:30.
Thank you.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 9:30? Hearing none, we'll call the first case. Calling BOA 739-099, 401 Bremen Street. This is adding a two-story, a 5,250 square foot addition to the Excel Charter High School in East Boston. The violation is Article 25, Section 9, the flood hazard districts, Article 53, Section 37, rear yard is insufficient, and Article 9, Section 9-1, extension or reconstruct a non-conforming use building. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you. Bob Baldwin, 74 Willow Road, Nahant.
Owen Stearns, 13 Tarleton Road in Newton.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is a relatively simple addition, a 5,000 square foot addition on an existing 54,000 square foot high school building that completed construction a little over a year ago. The addition was actually contemplated in the original plans, but was taken out for budgetary purposes. In fact, the Article 80 process included it, but the Zoning Board of Appeals and ISD process did not. This is a two-story addition, same height, no additional students, no loss of parking. And it
Tell us
provides
about the
8
flood
classrooms.
hazard. One of the violations is a flood hazard district. What does that mean?
Yeah, the location is within the flood hazard district, but the ground floor elevation is above. We dealt with this when we built the original building, and in fact, we have a memo we can submit for the record from our civil engineer verifying that we will be building our building above the flood hazard level.
Okay, and we would like that for the record.
Yeah.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Jesus Garcia from ONS. I would like to go in support for the project.
Thank you. Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? Please put your name and address on the record.
North Lisa, 246 Boston Street.
And tell us what your opposition is based on?
Sorry,
let me just clarify. You're here to speak in opposition of Bremen Street?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, okay. So it's just once more, let me ask. Is anybody here to speak in opposition on Bremen Street? Do you have a question, Mr. Ehrlich?
Will the same contractor who did the original 54,000 square foot work do the addition?
We wish they could. This is actually too small to be Chapter 149A, so this will be a straight Chapter 149 bid project, so we don't know the contractor yet.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval with continued BPDA design.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you.
Calling BOA 753-976, 69 to 71 Maverick Square. Maverick Square? Okay. This is a change occupancy from a dry cleaning store with accessory storage to dry cleaning store with accessory storage and 6 residential units. Renovate the upper existing 3 floors with new open floor layouts. Reconfigure stairwells and a rear addition to the 4th floor and new roof deck. Violation Article 53, Section 12, the floor to area ratio is excessive. Article 53, Section 12, the height is excessive. Article 53, Section 12, the rear yard is insufficient. Article 53, Section 12, the usable open space is insufficient. Article 53, Section 56, off-street parking is insufficient. And Article 53, Section 52, roof structure restrictions. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Karen Sameo, McDermott, Quilty, and Miller. Do you want to state your name for the record, please?
I'm the owner of the property. My name is Luis Vasco.
Design of the property is Waldo Lemus, Designs by Oz.
Okay, let me just ask, was this property before this board in the past?
No.
Not
No.
that I have represented, no.
Okay. So tell us what's being proposed and tell us what's required under zoning and what's being proposed in this proposal.
Certainly. Madam Chair, the proposal is to renovate a currently underutilized building, which currently is occupied by a dry cleaning with some accessory storage. And the request is to convert the upper levels to create 6 residential dwelling units. This property, by way of reference, is literally across from the T-stop. Mr. Vasco, who introduced himself, owns several properties in the immediate area, is very active in the community, and makes it a point to try to create units that accommodate the demographic that he serves in the neighborhood. And that demographic consists of many people in the service industry and or blue-collar workers and families who, many don't have vehicles, most of his current tenants don't have vehicles, and want to be in the city but find it hard to find some affordable units to make that happen.
So tell us about the violations.
And so the violations created in trying to utilize the property as it exists creates floor area ratio violations, height violation, although I don't believe that we're adding.
No, we're adding
floor.
across the building. Height is not changing.
Right. The current height of the building is not changing. The height violation is cited by virtue of extending the building back. Rear yard insufficient and the usable space insufficient. Do you have anything you want to add on the
So
violation?
let me. What are the sizes of the units? The proposed units.
The sizes range from just 595 to
Yeah.
650.
Right.
In-
600 square feet to 650
And these
square
are
feet.
studios?
They're 2-bedroom
They're two
units
bedrooms.
in the plan.
2 bedrooms for
Yes.
at this? Okay.
Legal size bedrooms, yes.
Okay. And what's the size of the addition?
The addition is going to be at least half of the floor at the 3rd level, actually the 4th level, which
Okay.
is approximately another 700 square feet if you include the stairs and everything else, hallways.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
The drawings are adequate.
Is anybody, any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Jesus Garcia from Neighborhood Services. I would like to go on record in support. There was no opposition at the board's meeting held on June 3rd at the site.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? Please put your name and address on the record and tell us what your opposition is based on.
Yes. Good morning. Thank you. My name is Christine Kutaz. I reside at 63 Maverick Square in East Boston. I've been there for 34 years. This property that is proposed addition and abuts my property, I'm a condominium owner, abuts my property in the rear. There is no egress for that property except what was deeded by an easement 30-some-odd years ago that granted the dry cleaner, and the dry cleaner only egressed to that backyard so that he could have trucks come in and empty out cleaning fluids, et cetera. My question, we were not aware of any other meeting. This was the first we heard by the city notice. I'd like to know what kind of a business is going in on the first floor. Is that an appropriate question?
Well, you know what? Just hold on. Hold on for a minute. Are you also speaking in opposition?
Yes, this is my husband.
That's your husband. Okay. Why don't you guys have a seat?
Okay.
And let's get a response from the applicant.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we appreciate the neighbors here today and expressing their concern. That was actually an issue that was discussed with ISD early on, was the easement issue. It is addressed in the plans. There has been an easement provided. It's actually, the real estate attorney is recording the easement at the Registry of Deeds as we speak right now, but it is reflected in those plans. And we're currently going to keep the first floor as the dry cleaning business for now. There's no change to that. I know that it may not weigh in to the board's consideration, but we're fine disclosing that.
Is her depiction of the easement correct, that it's specifically for a dry cleaning establishment?
No. Well, I can't speak to what the former easement was. I can tell you that no easement was actually recorded, and that's where we became involved in discussions with ISD. Previously, there seems to have been some verbal agreement about an easement. There was actually no easement on record. So we're correcting that problem.
And you've spoken with the abutters about the easement issue.
That's correct.
I'm in a butter. The easement is going to be on my own property. So I own both properties.
He's actually granting himself the easement and actually having it recorded so that it is legally enforceable.
So it goes with the land and not with the owner. Okay, any other questions?
I do have a question. Did you have a neighborhood meeting?
Yes.
We had the abutters meeting organized by ONS, yes.
Okay, how many people showed up?
None.
Okay. Any other questions? May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval, BPDA design review.
Can I suggest an amendment that there be some outreach with the neighbors who spoke here today, because it seems like the communication was not terribly effective.
Right after this, please. Was there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Please, right after this, have a conversation with the abutters. Okay?
Calling the next case, calling BOA 663-708, 275 Webster Street. This is to confirm occupancy as a 3-family and change the occupancy to a 4-family by adding a unit in the basement and then adding a new egress, stairs, and a deck. Violations, Article 53, Section 8, the use is forbidden. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient addition lot area per unit. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient open space. Article 53, Section 9, height, number of stories that have been exceeded. Article 53, Section 9, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Article 53, Section 54, screening and buffering, none is proposed. Article 53, Section 56, off-street parking, none is proposed. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Attorney Jeff Drago, representing Onley Parslow, the owner. My address is 15 Broad Street with Drago and Toscano. As was mentioned, we're here to confirm the occupancy of an existing 3-family building at 275 Webster Street and change the occupancy by adding a garden-level unit in the bottom level to make it a 4-family. We're also adding new decks and egress stairs in the back of the building. And just to point out, this new unit will be 73% above grade, where you can walk right out the back of the building. Ms. Parslow owns this building, uses it as a family building. Her mother and sister live in the building and will continue to occupy this building as well. The building will have a full sprinkler system and will actually be condoized as well at the same time. This particular zoning district is a 3F 2000 located in Jeffries Point. Lot size is 2,698 square feet. Just to go over some of the violations, many of which are pre-existing. The use is a 3F district, so this is a 4-family proposed. The FAR, which was pre-existing, required 1.0. We were at 1.28. We're now at 1.7. Open space, we're slightly under the 300 square feet required. Our height was pre-existing at 35 feet 5 inches. Additional lot area, we have 2,698. 4,000 required. There is no existing parking there now, and none is created. Just to give you an idea of the unit size, the garden level is a 2-bed, 2-bath, 837 square foot proposed unit. All of the other units on the first, second, and third floor are similar in size, from 875 to 978 square feet. 2-bed, 2-bath. First floor is the only one with 2-bed and 1 bath.
It looks like each unit will have its own utility
Correct.
system?
Yes.
Okay, how are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are adequate. It truly is a walkout unit.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Jesus Garcia from Neighborhood Services. I would like to go on record in support. There were no major concerns during the abutters meeting, which was held on July 7 at the site, and also Jeffries Point Neighborhood Association both in support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, I'd like to make a clarity. The council to go on record support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with that proviso.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 752-855, 43 Wordsworth Street. This is the complete interior and exterior renovation and build a rear addition and rear porches, and build a new additional third-floor dwelling unit. Violation of Article 53, Section 9, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Article 53, Section 52, the roof structure restrictions. Article 53, Section 56, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 53, Section 54, screening and buffering. Article 53, Section 8, the use is forbidden. And Article 53, Section 9, insufficient side yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jeff Drago with Drago and Toscano with an address of 15 Broad Street, representing Slava Men, who's the owner of 43 Wordsworth Street. We're here seeking zoning relief, for a renovation project of an existing 2-family, adding some additional space in the rear of the building, and adding a 3rd-story addition to go from a 2-family to a 3-family. This particular building has been unoccupied for a while. It was in really rough shape. It was abandoned. As you can see from some of the photos that I provided and the rendering, we are surrounded on the right side, and as you go up Wordsworth Street, by 3-family buildings. My client worked diligently with the neighbors. We have 4 letters of support that we submitted. We got both the support of the Harborview Community Group as well as the Orient Heights Civic Association. Just to go over the building, just to add again, will be fully sprinkled as required by code. Just to go over the violations, use is a violation going from a 2-family district to a 3. Our FAR going from 0.8 to 1.13, 0.8 being required. Side yard is pre-existing, 7 feet. We have 2.4, and parking, there is none provided. Existing, and a roof story structure restriction due to the 3rd level. Just to go over the size of the units, these are 3-bed, 2-bath. They're right now existing 3-bed, 2-bath. They're smaller than what the final product will be, so these units will become bigger, and the top floor will also be a 3-bed, 2-bath unit as well. I can pause now for any questions.
Okay.
Do any of the units on the street have off-street parking, or is it all?
No, some of them do. Actually, there's a parking lot directly next to us, that folks use for parking. But up the street, there's no, as you come around the hill, there's no property. It's on a cliff, so everyone can park resident parking. It is resident parking only on that street now as well.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Jesus Garcia from Neighborhood Services. I would like to go on record in support. The abutters meeting was held on August 16th at the Boys and Girls Club. The attendees expressed their support on the project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, on behalf of Council at Large Michael Flaherty, Council to go on record in support.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with continued BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you very
Dr.
much.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 717-297-32 Charter Street.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I recuse myself from this case.
This is to renovate and redesign the existing first-floor condominium unit 1 and extend residential use into the basement, deeded to this unit, creating a two-level condominium. The violation is Article 54, Section 10, excessive FAR. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, William Ferrullo, McDermott, Quilty, and Miller at 28 State Street. To my right is Christopher Olson, who's manager of the McDonough Family LLP, which is the owner of this premises. What we're here for today is the condominium has 510 square feet of space on a garden level. I refer to it as a garden level because the first floor of this building is raised and the lower level is a few steps down. It has an 8-foot ceiling height in the lower level, has full doors, full windows. We're proposing to use that as living space. We are not changing the number of bedrooms. This is currently a 3-bedroom unit that we will continue to maintain as a 3-bedroom. Originally, it was designed to have 3.5 baths. There was some question or issue raised at community meetings about the need for so many bathrooms. We've redesigned that by making it a 2-bath, 3-bedroom unit.
And so initially it was 510 square feet. What's the proposed size now?
The total size will end up being 1,400 square feet. The existing first floor is 890 square feet.
Okay. And there's and there's no building code relief or
No
requested?
building code.
How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Maria Lanza, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support. We had an abutters meeting for this project on June 27th, and they also have the support of the North End Waterfront Neighborhood Council. The applicant has worked with the abutters and the community to address any concerns, so we can gladly support this today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, on behalf of Council at Large Michael Flaherty, Council to go on record in support.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jessica Rodriguez, City Council at Large, Denise Ivy George's office, and she would also like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? One question, Councilor.
Yes.
The violation is FAR.
Correct.
What is required and what is being proposed?
Well, it's a multi-unit building.
Yeah.
And the excessive FAR for this unit is calculated within the entire building. So the entire building currently is already in excess of 3. It comes in at approximately 3.9 and change, and this will take it slightly over the 4
Okay.
FAR.
And the requirement is 1? It's MFR?
MFR is allowed as 3.0.
Okay. May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval, continued BPDA design review.
We don't need to see it.
You don't want to?
No, it's internal.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 730-633-49 Milford Street. There is a companion case on building code at case BOA 730-634-49 Milford Street. This is to replace an existing bottom run of a common exterior egress stairs, serving as the second means of egress from this three-family condominium building with an exterior steel spiral stair. The violation is Article 64, Section 9, rear yard is insufficient. Article 64, Section 9.4, townhouse row house extension. On the building code, Section 1009.1, stairway width, winder treads not permitted and a means of egress. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Dennis Quilty, attorney McDermott, Quilty and Miller, representing the property owner, Christopher Buscher. With me is the project architect, Derek Rubinoff. Good morning.
Good morning. Tell us what's being proposed, please.
Yes, ma'am. This is a proposal to replace a deteriorating wooden deck at the base level of this unit and the bottom rung of the exterior stair, which exists today as well. Giving the means of egress from this unit. It's a duplex unit, so this is the street level and down below to the garden level. So it's at the base.
This is an existing construction. You're looking to legalize this. I'm asking.
Looking to replace the present stair,
Yep.
which extends far out into the backyard, with a spiral stair in the same location.
Okay.
So it affects only the unit at the, as I suggested earlier, it's the ground level on Milford. It's the garden level at the rear of the building. There's a complete deck of all 3 floors presently in place. What he'd be seeking to do is to just replace the existing stair with one that's a spiral steel stair. You'll see in the package in front of you a photo of one 2 doors down in the same alleyway, which was approved a couple of years ago. We did have a meeting with
Hold on, Mr.
Yes,
Quilty.
ma'am.
Mr. Bazzani, on the building code, any opinion on that?
So as long as it's a 6-foot diameter stair.
It is.
Then it would be adequate.
It is.
So may I have a motion, please?
Motion to grant the building code relief requested.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now to the merits of the case.
Yes, ma'am. With regard to the zoning issues, we had a very positive meeting with the 8th Streets Neighborhood Association. They suggested they would be sending in a letter of non-opposition. I don't know whether you've received it. I did not. We could certainly get that if required. The mayor's office was present at our meeting, and we had a very successful mayor's office abutters meeting on site as well, wherein the folks in the neighborhood came out into the backyard, reviewed the whole situation, and were perfectly happy with it as well.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Faisal Sharif, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I'd like to go on record in support of this project. We did hold an abutters meeting. They did meet with the civic organization. They've also done extensive outreach with their immediate abutters. I've received 10 emails in support of it, so we would like to go in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to grant the relief requested.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Call the next case, calling 745-617, 316 to 316A Shawmut Avenue. This is the change artery to include an accessory retail package store, used for a butcher shop, meat market, no work to be done. The violation is Article 64, Section 8. Accessory retail package store is a forbidden use. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Attorney Nick Zazula, also from McDermott, Quilty and Miller, 28 State Street, Suite 802 here in Boston. With me today is Charlie Cummings from Walden Local, Inc. They are the appellant on the project. We're here before the board to seek permission to change the occupancy of this existing commercial space at the property at 316 Shawmut Avenue to add an accessory retail package store use to the current legal use and occupancy. The current occupancy is a 3-family dwelling. On the upper floors and on the ground floor, a butcher shop and meat market, which is operated or soon to be operated by Walden Local and Mr. Cummings. As you can see, we passed out just some background detail on the actual butcher shop. And what we're looking for is to change the occupancy to provide customers with a limited takeout of beer and wine as an accompaniment to the butcher shop's meat and food sales to provide a fuller customer experience. Basically, you go in and you get your meat, and we're here to help pair a local craft beer or a bottle of wine to go with that meat that you may have purchased from the butcher shop.
How long has the butcher shop been there?
The butcher shop will be open roughly early November. It is not open yet. It is currently being built out and will be operating soon. The commercial space was previously occupied by a laundromat prior to the current development that occurred about 2 years ago.
And all processing of the meat will occur off-site?
Yes. Yeah, so the butcher shop is fully zoning compliant. We are not here for the butcher shop. It is an allowed use.
It's just the alcohol.
So we are just here for the alcohol use. We're looking at 50 to 60 square feet only. Really a couple wine racks and a couple craft beers selections to go with that meat.
Does this have to go to the licensing board?
Yes, ma'am.
It does.
We have not gone to the licensing board yet. We felt it was prudent to come to the zoning board first before we engage the licensing board with any discussions on the actual license. I will note we have gone through an extensive community process going back to the spring. We've had numerous meetings with individual abutters and property owners, other businesses up and down Sharman Avenue and in the South End. We met with Washington Gateway Main Street several times. We presented to the Union Park Neighborhood Association as well. We provided letters of support from both the Main Streets and the Neighborhood Association. We also held an abutter meeting with the mayor's office as required in August.
Is there a reason when you got approvals for the original butcher shop, is there a reason that you didn't do this process at the same time?
So the butcher shop is zoning compliant. There's no process needed for that. That is an allowed use. So we've already gone through ISD and got a building permit and occupancy for that, but we didn't want to combine the occupancy of the butcher shop with the occupancy of the liquor portion because of the timing of it. They wanted to be open prior to getting the alcohol liquor zoning in place.
What are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board?
Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Faisal Sharif, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to also go on record in support. They did hold an extensive community process. We have received letters of support from both the Main Streets and the civic organization. We also held an abutters meeting in which the head of the civic organization was present, and there wasn't any objections.
So is this, because the address says it's Roxbury, but it falls under the purview of Washington Gateway?
This is the South End.
Yep.
Yes.
So
Okay.
it spills right into that same Main
It's in the-
Street
it's in
district.
the middle.
It's on that border, yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, James Sham, City Council, Bill Linehan's office, wish to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, on behalf of this council at large, Michael Flaherty, council to go on record in support.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 754-123, 51 to 59 Stewart Street. This is to erect a billboard on the roof. The violation is Article 38, Section 20B. Billboards are forbidden. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Richard Lins, 1216 Bennington Street. On behalf of the petitioner, Media Vision Incorporated, with me is Jonathan Serra, president of Media Vision. Madam Chair, this is a proposal to construct a single-sided, illuminated, roof-mounted, static billboard structure on the roof at 5159 Stewart Street. This would be a one-sided board, and as this board, I'm sure, is well aware, this is the first step and prerequisite for any permitting or licensing that could occur at the state level. This is a two-step process that requires a permit to be issued also by the Office of Outdoor Advertising, which is part of the Department of Transportation. In reviewing the site, we are confident and certainly have vetted this with the Office of Outdoor Advertising that in light of other billboard structures that have been approved in that area, this would be in compliance with state regulations and not interfere with any of the spacing requirements that are required. This size would be consistent with and not in excess of an adjoining property easement. The Avalon Tower that's newly constructed has a view easement across the roof of this site. We've designed the billboard to ensure that we do not interfere with any of those sight lines. To the extent that this does appear to block any of the windows on that building, we understand that that area of the building is limited to a garage in areas that do not have habitable space. We did have an opportunity to present this to the abutters and had an abutters meeting. I believe the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services can speak on that a little bit more. However, I would add a couple of things. First, this billboard does not meet the typical size of a 14 by 48, which is normally the size of billboards that you would see constructed. It's actually a little bit smaller. And again, one of the reasons to do that is to ensure compliance with that view corridor, view easement for the adjoining property owner. In addition, the petitioners had an opportunity to address what seems to be always the question when proposing a billboard is what type of benefit would be available to the community. They've made a commitment for a substantial...
We're here just to speak about the zoning, so please tell us about the dimensions of the billboard, put that on the record, and tell us if there will be any lighting or anything like that that will illuminate the billboard.
So the dimensions of the billboard, Madam Chair, are 10.5 feet by 36 feet. As I mentioned, that is smaller than the typical billboards that are proposed. There will be illumination. As indicated, this is only one side, so only one face of the billboard is actually facing out to Stewart Street. And I've provided here a copy of the plans showing the location on the roof as to where it would be located, and a best attempt at a rendering as to how it would face Stewart Street.
Is it an LED sign?
It is not digital. This is static.
And how will it be illuminated?
Lights from under.
Okay, so it won't affect the residential uses above?
It will not.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I'm just curious what the BPDA process has been on this.
We oppose all new billboards.
Yes, because I think this is the third proposed billboard for this, maybe the fourth, for this section of Chinatown. Yeah.
We understand that, and I think the site across the street is actually a BPDA site, which I believe was one of the last ones approved. There may be a digital board that's being
And there
proposed.
was one across the street at the hotel. Yeah.
And one of the reasons, as part of the planning with any billboard, is to determine whether or not you can have state compliance with respect to the proposed separations. And our position is this does comply, and we've looked at that diligently to ensure that we would not be interfering, I guess, with the spacing requirement that state law and federal law require.
Okay. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Denny Chang, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, would like to go on record in support. We held a butters meeting on October 5th. It was attended by a couple of butters. One is the tenant who had questions about construction concerns, which the applicant addressed, and the other was the Chinatown Business Association, and they were on record in support. So once again, we would like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, James Sham, City Council Bill in the Hands Office, wish to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, on behalf of City Council at Large, Michael Flaherty, Council to go on record in support.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Mary Higgins. I'm representing the Midtown Park Plaza Neighborhood Association, and I just want to go on record that there was no outreach to this neighborhood association regarding this proposed rooftop billboard. I also want to clarify that I did speak with the applicant, Jonathan Sarah, yesterday. We had a great conversation, but again, there was no reach out to the neighborhood association, which would have loved to have had a presentation regarding this before today's hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor?
In communication with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, we rely on that organization to instruct us which organizations to present to. We believe the abutters meeting satisfied the community process. We're happy to have further dialogue and communications with that organization if this is to be approved.
Okay. May I have a motion, please?
I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Correct.
Motion carries. You're all set.
Correct. Design review. Yeah. I'd like to add design review. I didn't think
And the
Making sure.
person who seconded also in
Council
support?
design review.
Yes, got it, thank you.
Next case, calling B...
One second, Counselor, I also want to make sure that we contact the that neighborhood association. Will do. All right.
Thank you very much.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 701-671, 28 to 38 Winter Street. This is an expansion of a ground and second floor enclosed space of 1,520 square feet of exterior improvements. Violations Article 38, Section 7, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, my name is Michael Fallon. I'm representing TFC 30 Winter LLC. To my left is Brian Ott, and Rob Del Savio is our architect. We are here at 30 Winter Street is an office building on Winter Street that is a 1970s construction. The streetscape has several cutouts that are dark and not enlivening the street life. What we've worked with the community to discuss has been how to create a street life that is more in keeping with what's going on in Downtown Crossing and Midtown Cultural District.
This is the building that's pulled back from the sidewalk.
So it abuts the sidewalk on the 3rd through 12th floors. And the 1st and 2nd floor, it's recessed in.
Yeah.
And it's mostly masonry dark. What we're looking to do here is we're looking to get relief for 900 square feet at the 1st level, which would bring a curtain wall down and encompass the existing footprint up top, but bring that down to the street level. We're looking to put in significant retail presence and liven up the streetscape. And in doing that, there will be a structural component that would allow the mezzanine level to gain about 620 square feet. We don't anticipate doing that right away, but we would like to put in that structural component if so needed. The streetscape, we've spoken with BID and many other groups, gotten their input, and over about a year of this process, we think that we've put together a plan that should be adding to the environment and creating a better public access way down through into the district.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
The drawings are accurate. What types of use are you anticipating?
So currently in the retail space is Santander Bank, and we would look to keep them as a tenant, but we would look to subdivide that space, not subdivide, but split that space and have ideally a restaurant user. We'd look to put in outdoor seating, bike racks, things like that, outdoor landscaping. The idea is to enliven the space, feedback from tenants and such.
And how does loading and delivering work if it is a restaurant?
Correct. So the loading actually takes place if you're looking at the building to the right, so a little bit closer to the park. There's a alleyway, and loading and unloading takes place from there on rolling dumpsters.
And I'm assuming that'll happen during non-peak hours, because sometimes it's difficult to walk that path.
Correct. Yep. The idea, we've been talking with several construction managers about this and how to plan for this. So we're going through logistics, but haven't gotten far enough along until we got through this.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Denny Chang, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, would like to go on record in support of the public improvements and so forth. Thanks.
Madam Chair, members of the board, James Sham, City Council Building Hands Office, wish to go on record in support.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members. Mary Higgins representing the Midtown Park Plaza Neighborhood Association in support of this project. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Doug Meyer with the Downtown Boston Business Improvement District. As the proponent, Mr. Fallon, alluded to earlier, we've been meeting extensively with the proponent and his team about this proposal for some time. We very much look forward to it. We filed our support letter in advance and sent it up to you all guys already, but in case it got misplaced, I'm bringing it up to you again. Thank you. Well, obviously, we're very much in support of this. I'm very excited for it to happen.
Good morning, Madam Chairman. My name is Brian Barnett, and I'm a trustee of the 43 Winter Street Condo Association, and we are in support of this.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve. Jeff, do we need BPDA design review here?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with that proviso. Good luck.
Madam Chair, Board.
Calling the next case, calling 733-788-819 East Fifth Street. This is a basement remodel and change order from a one-family to a two-family and a new unit in the basement. The violation is Article 68, Section 7. Dwelling units are forbidden in the basement. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Name's Chris Haley. Address is 819 East Fifth Street, South Boston.
Tell us what you're proposing, please.
So we're proposing a 600 square foot unit in the basement. Just, you know, as the plans show, the current FAR ratio of the building is 0.55, and this addition would bring it to 0.79. This last St. Patrick's Day, we parked 12 cars at the property. So we want the space because my wife and I just had a baby. We're planning on having a second. We thought introduction of the baby was going to be the most challenging thing in our life, and it's actually introduction of our in-laws. So this property used to be a two-family. It has plenty of parking, plenty of open space, meets all the other requirements. It's just that it's in the basement. It is currently a finished space down there. There are 7+ foot ceilings.
7 foot what?
There, I believe the lowest height is 88 inches.
Okay. And are utilities separated? Will they be separated?
The plans do call for separating the utilities.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate. The ceiling height listed is 80.5 inches, which is adequate.
Any questions from the board?
Mr. Pisani, is ingress, egress below grade, or?
No, it's almost a walkout.
Okay.
Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Morning, Madam Chair. Paul Christian, live at 1682 Columbia Road, South Boston. I own the property adjacent at 821 East Fifth Street, and I'd like to speak in support of the project.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This is within Article 68, so we have taken a position of not supporting any variances there. However, we did have an abutters meeting at which no objections were raised. Typically, the issue with these projects is parking, and the applicant does have ample off-street parking for both units. Thank you.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval with BPDA review for exterior work.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with that proviso. Good luck.
Calling BOA 755-707, 30 Sleeper Street. This is to construct a new pile-supported single-story Boston Children's Museum parking garage at 2836 Sleeper Street. A park will be installed above. The structure will be completely constructed on concrete bearing of 14-inch by 14-inch precast piles. The total site is 8,023 square feet, and the building is taking 4,740 square feet. Violation Article 8, Section 7, accessory garage is restricted parking zone. Article 32, Section 6, G-card, applicability. And Article 6, Section 3A, additional relief in a restricted parking district. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning. My name is Chris Cook. I'm the Parks Commissioner for the City of Boston. My home address, is that what you want?
Name and address.
31 Den Street, West Roxbury, Massachusetts.
Thank you.
I'm here speaking on behalf of, and I'm also joined by the project manager from McKay Construction, Kyle Anudo, Michael LeBlanc, and Amin Abazida from Util Design, as well as the hardworking project manager Lauren Bryant from Boston Parks and Recreation. Under the leadership of Mayor Martin J. Walsh and in partnership with the Boston Children's Museum and the Martin Richard Foundation, also the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, we are now able to construct an innovative all-access park in the spirit and memory of Martin Richard, who was the youngest victim of the marathon bombings. This will be a space which is open to all children and their families of all abilities so that they may break boundaries as they play together. The portion of the project above the garage structure constitutes 10% of our park. This portion of the park will be built over the proposed garage parking, creating an innovative graded hill that will accommodate play structures as well as be universal accessible. We need the grades in order to make it wheelchair accessible in this site. The museum will retain ownership of the garage while providing long-term easement lease to the park above. That park will be Article 97 protected. The museum plans to use this garage.
Sorry, Commissioner, so museum would maintain ownership?
They would maintain ownership, but we would have an ownership interest of the park.
Yeah, okay.
The museum will retain ownership of the garage, and again, we would have that easement that would cover the walls and the roof of the garage. The museum plans to use this garage for employee parking and storage of maintenance equipment. The Boston Parks and Recreation Department plans to use the garage for parks maintenance equipment and activities, and in fact, our groundskeeper will be stationed in this garage in the space. The garage structure will house 8 parking spaces and reduces the number of on-site parking spaces that currently exist at grade. Right now, there's 24 parking spaces, and we will be reducing those parking spaces to 8 within the garage. The Groundwater Trust has approved the engineering for this as the Article 32 conditional use permissions, and the project has either received or plans to secure all other required permits and licenses, as well as real estate leases and easements, so the Martin Richer Park will operate in perpetuity. We are available to answer any questions the board may have.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Christian Simonelli, Boston Groundwater Trust. We do have the no harm letter from the applicant, and they are in compliance.
Is that in the file?
We do not. We could use that.
Okay. So this will reduce the number of parking spaces from what?
Currently, there's 24 parking spaces on site. It'll be reduced to 8. They'll also be shielded from view with street trees and additional furniture.
And will the buses still be dropping children off at the curb over there?
Yeah, very importantly, that will still occur on 30 Sleeper Street, but we'll also be adding an open space plaza there that we can activate for different spaces and events and for community uses.
Okay. Okay.
What's on the current, I'm trying to visualize it, what's there currently?
It's the parking lot.
The whole thing is this?
Yeah, with some utility boxes. How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
Exceptional.
Is any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to on record in strong support. This park will not only be a great addition to the neighborhood, but to the whole city. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, James Chan with City Council Bill in Hand's Office, wish to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, on behalf of City Council at Large, Michael Flaherty, echoing the sentiments of the Mayor's Office, Council like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve. Do we need screening?
No, it's just for the garage,
Okay, so,
so
all
I
right.
think it's good.
So motion to approve with nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You're all set. Good
Very
luck.
grateful, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Calling the next 2 cases, calling BOA 740-848, 1620 Columbia Road. There is a companion case, BOA 740-840, 1622 to 1624 Columbia Road. This is for 1620. This is the curb cut for driveway at 1620 and 1622, 1624 Columbia Road. The owners of 1622, 1624 have also applied for a permit and restore a common driveway. Violations, Article 68, Section 34. Side yard providing access of off-street parking cannot be less than 10 feet wide. Article 68, Section 8. Usable open space is insufficient. And Article 68, Section 33, off-street parking design, size of access, drive, and maneuverability. Are you doing both of these together?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure. This is for 1622 to 1624 Columbia Road. It's the same curb cut, 1622 to 24. The owners of 1620 have also applied a permit. Violation, Article 68, Section 33, off-street parking design, size, access, drive, maneuverability. Article 68, Section 34, side yard providing access to off-street parking cannot be less than 10 feet wide. And Article 68, Section 8, usable open space is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Paul A. Christian Jr., and I live at 1620 Columbia Road, South Boston.
My name is Francis Joseph Murray. I live at 1624 Columbia Road.
Please tell what you're proposing?
Our proposal, and we also have the co-owner, Tricia Murray.
Patricia Murray, the additional co-owner of 1622 to 1624 Columbia Road.
So tell us what's being proposed.
Well, we would like to have a driveway between our respective houses. We do have clearance of greater than 10 feet between it. We would like the granting of a curb cut for access to parking behind our houses. We each have space for 2 spots, and we've agreed and recorded it at the Registry of Deeds this past week in easement for ingress, egress, and maneuvering.
How many units at each address?
At 1620, we have 3 units, and I believe it's 1622, 24. It's 2 units.
So the total number of parking spaces being requested is 4?
That's correct.
Okay. And this will be recorded at the registry?
It has been recorded.
It has been, okay. And is there parking on that side of the street?
I'm sorry?
Is there parking on your side of the street?
Yeah.
On-street
Oh,
parking?
yes, yeah.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, James Chan with City Council Bill in Enhanced Office, wish to go on record in support.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Even though this is within Article 68, this would provide good off-street parking to keep a longtime family in the neighborhood and provide amenities for residents. Thank you.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Approval for both cases.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Both parties are all set. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Very much.
Calling the next 2 cases, calling BOA 720-600, 459 East 8th Street. There is a companion case, BOA 720-251, 461 East 8th Street. This is for 459. This is a complete renovation to an existing single-family attached dwelling. Install new siding, windows, and exterior. Violation of Article 68, Section 29, roof structure restricted district. This is for 461 East 8th, complete renovation of existing family, attached dwelling, install new siding, windows, exterior, remove and construct a new roof and a roof deck. Violation of Article 68, Section 8, side yard setback is insufficient. Article 68, Section 8, front yard setback is insufficient. Article 68, Section 29, roof structure restricted district. Name and address for the record, please.
Patrick Mahoney of Adams and Moranci with the business address of 350 West Broadway.
Please tell us what's being proposed.
Madam Chair, the proposal includes a renovation of 2 existing single-family homes that will remain single-family homes, and the extent of the zoning relief we're seeking, if you can see on the existing, on A2, the existing roof line, is that roof line where it's sloped is being leveled out to a straight mansard side, and that is our side yard violation and restricted roof structure violation. Additionally, there is on one of the dwellings to the left, there is living space expanding to the basement area, or rather at grade level. And we're currently taking the existing 4-bedroom units and then making them 3 bedrooms over the same amount of floors.
So these are current buildings being totally renovated to essentially include a roof deck?
Yes.
And your parking, I see the proposed driveway, is that as of right? Or is that part of this application?
It's not part of this application. It is likely zoning compliant, but there was a separate use of premise permit submitted. So it's not part of this application.
And tell us about the roof deck?
The roof deck for either unit is relatively small, less than the 330 square feet allowed in a restricted roof structure district by Article 6829.
And what's the access?
The access is the same. It's a hatch, I'm sorry. I thought you meant means of egress.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board?
One note, I did submit some letters of support, and on the last page of your document, of each board member's document, is a highlighted map showing where each letter of support came from.
I'm confused. This common ownership of the 2 units?
It is, yes. Yeah, it's two separate applications, Mr. Ehrlich, but the lots are being combined.
Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal? Is anybody here to speak in, are you speaking in support? Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I do want to acknowledge we did have a positive abutters meeting on this project, and it is consistent with the rest of the block. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval of BPDA design review for exterior work.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you.
Before I call the last case for 9:30, I'm going to call 10:30s. Are there any deferrals or withdrawals for 10:30? I'm going to call the last case for 9:30, calling BOA 740-158, 11 Mayhew Street. This is an addition of a single-story multi-purpose assembly space, approximately 3,000 square feet, and a 3-story classroom extension over an open parking of 11,800 square feet, and renovation of the existing building to accommodate the additions. The violations, Article 65, Section 41, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 65, Section 8, school is conditional use. Article 65, Section 9, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Article 65, Section 9, the rear yard is insufficient. Article 65, Section 9, the height is excessive. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, thank you. My name is Bob Baldwin, 74 Willow Road, Nahant, and with me is Shauna Veron. Address?
I live at 200 Temple Street, West Roxbury.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. This is an addition, approximately 14,000 square foot addition on about a 46,000 square foot existing school. The school has, Boston Collegiate has been there for about 15 years. The property has been used as a school for probably about 100 years in some form or another. There will be no additional students that come along with this addition. This is really correcting some deficiencies in the classroom configurations and number of classrooms that they currently have. About half of the building is a former convent, which you might imagine is hard to configure into classrooms. So this is a correction of that. There are really two components of the addition: a 3,000 square foot infill assembly space, single story. The current building has no assembly space at all. And then there is a 3-story classroom addition that goes out over an existing parking lot to provide additional classrooms and administrative space. The classroom addition is raised above the existing parking so that we can preserve as many parking spaces as possible. I think we are losing 2 spaces in the effort due to structure.
And so I'm having a difficult time understanding these drawings. So the existing first floor and first floor addition, this is the submitted design. What are we looking at? Are we looking at the second one, the revised design?
Yes, Madam Chair. There's a very small adjustment from the submitted plans that we wanted to make sure you were aware of. In discussions with our direct abutters in a condo building at 246 Boston Street, we've made a number of adjustments, some before we put in the plans to ISD, to have less impact on their view shed. One of those adjustments was to move the building about 17 feet further away from them. Another was to lower the building about 2 feet so that it's equal with their roof deck and doesn't interrupt the skyline. And what you have in your hands is really just a 3-foot, 8-inch shortening of the building so that it has a little less impact on the, again, on the view shed and the open air space from that building.
And so the parking violation was did the initial building have a parking violation?
It did, yes.
What was required and what were you propose, or did you propose?
Well, the existing non-conforming parking for striped spaces, I believe it was 17 spaces, and or 19 spaces, and we're dropping it down to 17. The requirement would be in the 30s, about 30 spaces. So it's always been that condition. Now, I should mention that the school, as a practical matter, parks closer to 30 to 40 cars in there on a regular basis with sort of a valet-style blocking and parking. And they've been, as a practice, that's been happening really for quite a long time, and looking to continue that. And we've been discussing that with the neighborhood as we go out with our plans. So formally, it's around 17, but we can get about 30 in there.
Okay, so let's just see. So the parking was the primary issue because that tends to be the issue around schools. So.
Yeah, both temporary and permanent. And we're finding temporary parking in the neighborhood during construction because, of course, we'll lose all of that. So we're taking care of that as well.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in strong support. We've held a number of meetings on this project, and it will be a great addition to the school and the community. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members. For the record, my name is Tammy Donovan, and also for the record, I'm speaking as a parent of children at the Boston Collegiate. And the school is a fabulous school. The extension for a cafeteria and an auditorium would be beneficial since the children now sit in their classrooms for lunch. They don't get to have a hot meal. The extra classroom, they'd be able to spread out. The school is fantastic, and I believe that the addition to the building would only add to the benefit of the teaching experience so the children don't feel so confined all day. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Councilor Frank Baker's office, would like to go on record in strong support.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jeff.
Madam Chair, members of the board, speaking as a parent of 2 students at the Collegiate, I'd like to speak in favor of this project.
You've switched your hat to neighborhood resident.
I did. You do have our formal recommendation in front of you.
Okay, thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Hi, I'm just speaking on behalf of 246 Boston Street, which is directly...
Can you put your name and address on the record, please?
Lenore Feliso, 246 Boston Street.
Okay.
We're only opposed to the addition in the front due to the loss of light of the north-facing units. There's 9 units in my building, and the loss of value due to that and loss of views. The addition is taller than our building, so will also impact the roof deck, the common roof deck, and additionally impact the value. We don't understand why the increase in 30+% of volume to the building when, with the facts we've been given on need, the loss of parking will force more cars into this street. And that's all I can think of off the top of my head.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Don Plant, 6 Mayhew Street. Very similar concerns as the last speaker. I also will just say that the footprint of the building has an oversized effect on the street, and the fact that it's not actually serving the children in the neighborhood is a concern of mine.
Thank you. Response, Mr. Bowen.
Yes, we've met with the condo owners of 246 Boston Street probably 6, 7, or 8 times, and their concerns are legitimate. This will have an impact, and as I briefly mentioned before, throughout those conversations, we've made a number of changes. Again, we moved the building about 17 feet further away, so now it's 30 to 34 feet away from the building. So that's your sort of light area, if you will, light and air. The building actually has been lowered, so it is not taller than their building. It's the same level, so when they are at their roof deck, they can look right over the entire building and maintain their view. In addition, we've been up on the roof deck quite a bit, and the skyline view is a little to the left, shall I say, and that's why we've moved the building in a little bit, 3 or 4 feet, just so even though you can see over the building, it has a greater view shed and impact. And I think lastly, the other change we made is they requested that we didn't have any windows on the side of the building, of the addition facing their building, and we do not. So we've done, I
We
think
also
what
did
we
a shadow study, right, Bob?
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you, Sean. And we did a shadow study as well that indicates that this addition will in fact have no impact on direct sunlight shadows more than the existing building does.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Goodbye.
Thank you.
So we're going to take a break until 11 o'clock. The Board of Appeal is back in session. I know there's a new set of faces here, so just a reminder, make sure that your cell phones are off. Any conversations that you need to have, please take them outside of the room. In conformance with the open meeting law, everything is being live streamed. Finally, if you're here to speak either in support or in opposition of the project, we're here to get new information. So give us new information when it's your turn to speak. If somebody has already stated your concern, just put your name and address on the record so we know who's here either in support or in opposition. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the 10:30 hearings, are there any deferrals or withdrawals? Councilor address?
653 Cummings Highway.
For the record, calling BOA 757-453, 653 Cummins Highway. Name and address for the record.
Patrick Mahoney of Adams and Moranci, business address of 350 West Broadway.
Tell us what you're requesting, Mr. Mahoney.
We're seeking a deferral at this time. We had an additional community meeting yesterday evening, and we had some constructive feedback, and we'd like to incorporate that into our design. And we have one more on-site meeting, and then we believe we'll be ready to come back. Our on-site meeting is tentatively scheduled for the 28th.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion to defer.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please?
We can get you November 14th. Does that work?
Perfect.
On November 14th.
Thank you.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 10:30? Hearing none, we'll call the first case. Calling BOA 743-386, 768 to 772 Tremont Street. This is the remove proviso for this petitioner only. Violations Article 6, Section 4, BCC 32989, proviso for this petitioner only. Name and address for the record, please.
Argus da Silveira. Good morning, Board, Madam Chair. This is just change of ownership, purely technical. No changes, no employees removal.
What's the current business that's there?
It's a pizza shop. It's
The name?
South End Pizza. It's
Okay.
remaining exactly the same. It's just the name that's changed from one to the other.
And what's the name change?
The ownership from John Kangeglu to Mr. Jemshek.
Okay. And has he experience with doing takeout?
Yes, he has been there for a while.
A while is...
Well, the establishment has been there for about 30 years. and he's actually been working in the business for a little while, and so he decided to take over.
Okay. Okay. And do you have plans, Mr. Pisani?
Rudimentary, yes.
Okay.
It's a small, I believe it's less than 1,000 square feet. It's been there for a while. We've gone already through the common vic license, through the hearing, already approved, and everything else is just...
And he's had experience with takeout. There have been no complaints about the business as far as the takeout is concerned?
As far as I understand, no. He's
Okay.
real good with the community, he gets along very well.
Okay, any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Faisal Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Payment Services. We'd like to go in record in support.
Thank you. Are there grates on the front of the building or anything like that? Okay. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
A motion to approve with continued BPDA design review and just, if there is grades, to make sure that we address that.
And to the usual takeout language?
And the usual takeout language, yes.
Okay. Sir, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Calling BOA 647-490, 95 Calumet Street. This is a change of occupancy from a 3-family dwelling to a 9-unit residential dwelling, extension of living space into the basement, construct a new 3-story rear addition to an existing 3-story building. It's a complete interior renovation with new sprinkler system. The violation, Article 59, Section 37, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 59, Section 7, multifamily dwelling is forbidden. Article 59, Section 8, location of main entrance shall face the front lot line. Article 59, Section 8, the lot area for additional dwelling units is insufficient. Article 59, Section 8, floor-to-air ratio is excessive. Article 59, Section 8, usable open space is insufficient. And Article 59, Section 8, side yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the board. My name is Peter Vanko, architect on behalf of the project. Business address 407 Dudley Street, Suite 8.
Tell us what's being proposed.
We have had over a year-long process, beginning with a 9-unit building here. It's currently a 3-unit building. It's on an odd lot in Mission Hill. It has extraordinarily large lot. It's deep.
So what's the dimensions of the lot?
The dimensions for the lot are over 110 feet deep by about 32 feet wide.
Okay.
I actually have drawings here if
Yes,
you do not have them.
if you can make sure they're circulated. So this is a request to change the occupancy from a 3-family to 9 units? Is that still the request?
It is not.
What's the request now?
We would like to amend that to a 4-unit building.
Okay, so a 3-family to a 4-family. So what does that mean for your violations? What vanishes?
Greatly reduced. The dimensional regulations, Article 59, Section 8, are gone.
All of them?
All 5 of them.
Okay.
So our only 2 violations, as I see them, would be the use regulation that is a forbidden use. We'd be going to a 4-family.
Yeah.
And then the off-street parking requirements, we are adding a unit.
Okay. Give us a minute so we can just look at these plans.
There are 2 packages. In the lower right-hand corner, it's designated by a 4 or a 9.
Could you state the number of bedrooms that exist now, and then when you add the 4th unit, how many total bedrooms will be there?
Yes, I can. Just to be clear, there's a net loss in bedroom count overall. Here it is for the existing 3-unit building, 2 5-bedroom units, 1 4-bedroom unit, so a total of 14. In the end, with 4 units, we have a total of 13 bedrooms.
So with 4 units, you have 13 bedrooms?
That is correct.
Tell us, go through unit by unit. Tell us what the square feet are and how many bedrooms in each unit.
Absolutely. Okay. New, we are essentially ending up with Unit 1, which is on the ground level, will be 1,509 square feet.
And that's a 4-bedroom?
That remains a 4-bedroom, correct?
Okay.
Unit 2 and Unit 3, which are on level 2, this is really where the change is occurring in the building. We're taking what is previously a large floor plate, we're splitting it into 2.
Hold on 1 minute. Excuse me, can you take the conversation outside of the room? Thanks. Go ahead.
Unit 2 ends up as a 780 square foot 2-bedroom. Unit 3 ends up as a 785 square foot 2-bedroom. And then on the 3rd floor, we have Unit 4, which is a 1,603 square foot 5-bed remaining.
Okay. And so you know that the zoning code does not allow more than 4 unrelated individuals to reside in a unit.
We do, and that was actually a large driver in our initial proposal, was a 9. And then we actually, over the last year, we actually proposed a 6-unit building that proposed no
I'm talking
addition.
about unit number 4.
Yes.
So,
yes.
so you're going to be renting to a family, I assume?
That's the intention, is that actually with community, the community request that we heard was that there was interest in trying to get more families on the Mission Hill, more permanent residents. So either that will be the interest there, or we will reduce bedroom count overall. The developer has agreed to do that.
Okay. And so the violation is the use, and how about parking?
Parking, we do not have a solution for. All that I can speak to is that I have in my direct abutter support, of which I have letters of support here, direct from 2 abutters. Parking is notated as it's a current existing problem, and that the addition of the single unit they do not perceive to be an additional problem. The perception is, and the end renter that my client really wants is that walker or biker. The reason to go to these smaller units is they're more marketable to the professionals, to people who are really looking for, they don't want a lot of roommates, but they are looking to be close to their jobs. And we have a lot of permanent residents who are interested in working in the medical communities there and universities. Mission Hill is an attractive neighborhood for those more permanent residents if they're given the right building stock.
Who is the owner?
Mr. Casting, Mr. Tanis Casting.
Okay. And you've had a community process?
We have. We've had a spotty community process, not for lack of trying. Initially there was, Nixon Peabody was retained for the project, working on the 9-unit building, and we transitioned, the owner made the decision to transition him out. We have a very frugal Haitian-born businessman here, very, very smart gentleman. He didn't want to spend the fees there. So we transitioned that out as we downgraded the building size. We were no longer going for the addition any longer, so we went to a 6-unit building. And that, quite frankly, we didn't get a favorable vote. We did go and we sought votes there, and we caught feedback. So we reduced yet again to a 4-unit building. That plans for the 4-unit building were transmitted to both community groups via email in early June. And we requested, it was September 18th, as we had a change in our ZBA hearing date to today. We sent those plans to both community groups a month ago. Our mayor's office liaison, Ms. Guerrero, was copied on those emails. Plans were transmitted, but we were not heard for the 4-unit building.
Thanks. Hold on.
Sure.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The 4-unit is a great improvement over the 9-unit.
Agreed.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Does it change significantly the bedroom count between the 4 and the 9?
Absolutely. In fact, it changes the bedroom count from the current existing large building. We actually have a bedroom count reduction overall in the building from what it currently is today. So it actually, theoretically are less people living in the building, even though we are adding a unit.
And to your point, do you think that, like you said, the professional students would have an idea about living collectively with someone else? In other words, you have multiple bedroom units, so.
We do, but what's nice about this, and we would welcome any member of the board who would actually support our 6-unit scheme, which was all 2 bedrooms.
But all we have before us now is 4 bedrooms, so let's just be focused on
correct.
that
Okay.
as the proposal before us.
Absolutely, and I guess.
With the backup drawings that have been submitted.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so we're not moving backwards.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal? Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Giselle Guerrero with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in opposition. It is true that they have had a very lengthy process, I think starting way back in January, but with this new scheme of 4, there has been a bit of a contentious kind of following. I was present at the community meeting where they did present, or they did give the option to hear this proposal, and the community was already very rattled up and decided that there was no point in even hearing it through. They were completely in opposition of it. There wasn't another abutters meeting. The community, I've got letters of opposition from both abutters and just members from the Community Alliance of Mission Hill that are asking and urging us to oppose this project. Thank you.
Alicia Del Vento here on behalf of Representative Jeffrey Sanchez of Jamaica Plain, and we'd like to go on the record that our office opposes this project.
Thank you. Is anybody else here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That's the
Thank you.
decision.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 738153, 14 Sydney Street. Well, sorry. Yep, 14 Sydney Street, sorry. This is to raise 2 current buildings and erect a new 9-unit residential building. Violations, Article 65, Section 15. The MFR is forbidden. Article 65, Section 41. Parking maneuverability is insufficient and portion required parking is tandem. Article 65, Section 9. Floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Article 65, Section 9. The building height is excessive. Article 65, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient. Article 65, Section 9, the rear yard is insufficient. And Article 65, Section 9, building height is excessive by feet. Name and address for the record, please.
Excuse me, Mr. Fortune, this is a companion case to that? It's
Okay, they
102,
weren't together,
110.
that's why I was going to ask you.
It was, they were
On
not
Savin Hill Ave?
advertised, yes.
Okay.
Sydney and Savin Hill. Excellent. Go ahead. Sorry.
So this is also a companion case. I'll pull it into the record now. BOA 738-147-102 to 110 Savin Hill Avenue. This is erecting new 3-story commercial building with proposed uses of automated telemachine, art gallery, public arts, display space, studio arts, fitness center, gymnasium, and general office use. Restaurant, takeout restaurant, large bakery, local retail business, and catering. The violations, Article 65, Section 15. Use is conditional. Some of the proposed uses are conditional. Article 65, Section 15, large takeout is forbidden in an LC district. Article 65, Section 16, the FAR is excessive in the LC district. Article 65, Section 16, rear yard is insufficient. Article 65, Section 41, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 65, Section 8, the proposed uses are forbidden in a 2F 4,000 district. Article 65, Section 9, the FAR is excessive for a 2F 4,000 district. Article 65, Section 9, number of stories is excessive for a 2F 4,000 district. Article 65, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient for a 2F 4,000 district. Article 65, Section 9, rear yard is insufficient for a 2F 4,000 district. And Article 65, Section 9, the building height is excessive for a 2F 4,000 district. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Attorney John Polgini, 10 Forbes Road, Braintree, Mass. With me today is James Baker. He's the owner, developer of this project, and Kevin Diedler from Rhodey Architecture, who should be joining us soon.
Tell us what's being proposed.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. The proposal before you is the raising of one commercial building, which is located on Savin Hill Avenue, along with 2 contiguous residential properties on Sydney Street. These 3 lots, once the raising takes place, would be combined and then subdivided to make way for this mixed-use development of approximately 10,500 square feet of commercial space with 2 parking spots, along with 9 residential condominium units with 13 parking spaces.
So the 102 to 110 would be the commercial space, and Sydney Street would be the residential?
Sure. It's a little bit complicated because when they do the combining of the lots and then subdividing the lots, some of the 2F4000, which is what the Sydney Street zoning is, comes into play with the commercial lot as well. So they're expanding that. So as you stated, the applicable zoning for this area is general convenience for, local convenience for the commercial space, and also 2F4000 for the residential area. There are, because of this commercial space, we had engaged a development software development program called Co-Urbanize. And based upon this Co-Urbanize, we came up with 362 responses. It was in 6 different languages. And what
So please tell us exactly what's being proposed, and you have a lot of violations. But thank you for that.
Okay. The proposed use is based upon those responses for the commercial space, includes some which are allowed. That is an ATM, art gallery, professional offices, bakery, and local retail. Some which are conditional, public art display space, art studio, fitness center, gymnasium, general offices, and restaurant, and some which are forbidden, restaurant, large takeout. So that would be part of the proposal, and that was part of our application we submitted.
Okay, so just to let you know that for takeout, we do not give you pocket relief. We need to know exactly who the restaurateur is and who's going to be running the takeout space.
Okay.
So you're going to go ahead and apply for these great variety of uses, asking us for approval for all of those in the hopes that you'll manage to then fill in the space.
Correct.
Okay? So is there office space, actually, is office space being proposed also?
It is.
How much of that will be office space?
The second floor most likely would be office space. It's about 3,200 square feet, Madam Chair.
Okay. Okay. And so then speak to the residential component.
Sure. Residential, as I stated, it's 2F4000. The lot size after the subdivision will be 6,853 square feet. It is going to be 9 residential units with 13 parking spots. There's a violation on the refusal letter, and that violation is to do with maneuverability because 2 of those spaces are tandem spots. So those will be contained inside the building themselves.
So tell us on the breakdown of the units.
Sure.
The square footage and the number of bedrooms.
So there are 9 units in total, 1 adaptive 1-bedroom unit, and that is approximately 770 square feet. There are 6 2-bedrooms. Those are approximately 1,416 square feet, and 2 3-bedrooms, and that's approximately 1,816 square feet. So this is obviously, based upon the square footage of the 2 properties, this was an Article 80 small project application. It went through that process. There was an extensive community process. There were 8 community meetings. I have provided the board this morning a letter of support from the Columbia Savin Hill Civic Association, as well as nearly 40 abutters and elected officials in support of the project.
So the violations, so you meet the parking requirement, but the violation is triggered by maneuverability.
That is correct.
Okay.
It's 1-to-1, so that would be 9 spaces for 9 units. We have, as I stated, 13, but 2 of those are tandem.
And the parking on the commercial space, how many spaces are you providing?
So we're allocating 2 spaces for the commercial unit. The zoning would be 1 space per 1,000 square feet. So based upon the 10,005 whatever odd square feet altogether, it would somewhere be around 11 spaces. The developer has worked, even though this is kind of a unique situation, the project is located, obviously the Savin Hill side is a commercial main downtown area of the Savin Hill Business District, the Sydney Street, which is contiguous to it, but it is surrounded entirely by the old St. Williams, which is Cristo Rey. And we're in the process, and we've been working with Cristo Rey Board of Directors with respect to using the parking spaces in their parking lot when the school is not in session. And they've been very welcome to that idea, and there's some trade-off there. We will maintain the parking lot, as well as we're doing some improvements with respect to handicap access and things like that to the school.
But the relief goes with the property.
Correct.
So is this going to be a permanent request for ancillary parking at the adjacent lot?
It's just something we're trying to hammer out. We've been, maybe James could speak further to it.
Basically, we have a verbal agreement. We're working towards a full agreement where the school or the Archdiocese will grant us access to the parking lot nights, weekends, and whenever the school isn't in session. We will provide maintenance, snow removal, improvements, and it's an ongoing relationship, but the Archdiocese does want an opportunity to cancel it at some point if necessary, if they end up selling the property, and they would give us, I believe it's a 1-year notice. So it's not, we would need permanent relief on the parking for the commercial building, yes.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are excellent.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is David Cotter from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I'd like to go on record in support for this project. This project has had a lengthy and very well-involved community process. It obviously went through the BPDA's Article 85 process. It was approved by the BPDA board, but they've also held a number of community meetings outside of those. This project has received full support from everybody who's participated. They've also had the support of the Columbia Savin Hill Civic Association. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, on behalf of City Councilor at Large Michael Flaherty, echoing the sentiments of the Mayor's Office, Councilor to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Jessica Rodriguez, Councilor Anissa Saiba George's office, and Councilor would also like to go on record in support.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval, continued BPDA design review for both projects.
Second.
Hold on, Mr. Bazzani. I would also recommend that Article 65, Section 15, for the large takeout use not be included in that approval, so that we get to see what who the vendor is.
Accepted.
Madam Chair, as the developer of the property, I will be involved in the restaurant.
That's okay. We just need to know exactly what it is, so you can always come back the rest of the project. So is there a second for that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with that proviso. You're all set.
Thank you very much.
Calling the next 3 cases, calling BOA 733-442, 24 Browning Avenue. There are 2 companion cases, BOA 733-438, 26 Browning Avenue, BOA 733-431, 28 Browning Avenue. This is for 24 Browning Avenue. Just erect a 3-family dwelling. The violation is Article 60, Section 9. Lot area is insufficient. Article 60, lot area for additional dwelling unit is insufficient. Article 60, usable open space is insufficient. Article 60, Section 9, the front yard is insufficient. Article 60, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient. This is for 26 Browning Ave. This is erect a 3-family dwelling. We have the same violations, so without reading them. This is for 28 Browning. This is erect a 3-family with the same violations. Name and address for the record, please.
Arthur Chu, architect, 1 Billings Road, Quincy, Mass.
Rachel Messini, principal.
Tell us what's being proposed.
This is currently 3 vacant lots that used to have 3 families. We are proposing to rebuild 3 families on those lots.
And tell us what the building scape is. Is this the rest of the street? 3 families, same kind of lot size?
Yeah, the 3 families, primarily 3-family area.
And same average lot sizes?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Did you say there used to be 3 families?
Yes.
So are the same footprint on the design?
We don't have that much information.
It's been a long time.
Yes. Pretty close to it.
Can't hear you, sorry.
We know.
Pardon?
And the best our research was pretty close to what it was actually there.
Okay. And you'll be providing off-street parking?
Yes.
On all of these? How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
Drawings are adequate. What they have is three families. Each of them have parking. Two of them have a shared driveway.
And that's going to be deeded so that the driveway is indeed shared?
Yes, yes,
And front yard, is that modal front yard?
yes.
Yes?
A 21-foot setback.
And is that modal?
Yes.
No, triple deckers.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the board. Flavia De Vega, Mayor's Office, Neighborhood Services. I'd like to go on record in support of this application, to have support from the direct abutters, as well as the Tarbert Harvard Triangle Group is in support of housing in the area.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jawan Skeens, District 4, Boston City Council, Andre Campbell's office. We would like to go on record of support. Although we appreciate the developer, of course, being in close communication with the community, we encourage that as this project moves forward. Thank you.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval with BPDA design review and contextually related.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 732-466, 2269 to 2269A Dorchester Avenue. This is to add live entertainment to an existing restaurant bar occupancy. The violations, Article 65, Section 15, use of a restaurant bar with live entertainment is forbidden. Name and address for the record, please.
Patrick Mahoney of Adams and Moranci, with a business address of 350 West Broadway. The 2269 Dorchester Ave, we have Lower Mills Tavern, which has been in operation for 2 years. And they're now seeking to have an entertainment license for live acoustical performances 2 days a week. I've submitted the plans that I requested from ZBA. Mr. Bazzani, I don't have handouts. I apologize for that. And also a letter from the Lower Mills Civic Association in support.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board?
Where exactly will the entertainers be entertaining?
In the front, Mr. Bazzani, there's a table that'll be moved in the front center of the building. And there is no stage for 521 CMR reasons.
Right. And what type of entertainment is it really?
Acoustic live entertainment.
And are there abutters above, residents above
No.
or anything? Okay.
No.
Any other questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is David Cotter from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I'd like to go on record in support. This project has the full support of the community and the Lower Mills Civic Association. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan. We have City Council at Large, Michael Flaherty. Echoing the sentiments of the Mayor's Office, Council to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joe McGeckran, City Councilor, Frank Baker's office, like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Calling the next two cases, calling BOA 716-302-119 Neponset Avenue. Companion case BOA 716-304-121 Neponset Avenue. This is for 119 Neponset Ave, proposed to erect a one-family with two-car garage attached at rear of the structure. It's also to subdivide lots into two lots, one family, and two off-street parking spaces at 121 Neponset Ave. The violation, Article 69, Section 9, lot width is insufficient. Article 69, Section 9, lot frontage is insufficient. Article 69, Section 9, side yard setback is insufficient. Article 69, Section 9, the minimum front yard setback is insufficient. This is for 121 Neponset Ave. This is for a subdivision of existing lot into two lots. This lot to be Lot B. He's proposing to erect a one-family with two off-street parking spaces The violations, Article 69, Section 9, minimum lot size requirement is insufficient. Article 69, lot width is insufficient. Article 69, lot frontage is insufficient. Article 69, floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Article 69, minimum front yard requirement is insufficient. And Article 69, Section 9, rear yard setback is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Attorney Derek Small. I have a business address of 15 Broad Street, Boston, Mass. 02109. We are here today seeking relief to subdivide the lot and erect a one-family dwelling on each of the lots.
Mr. Small, what would the size, the proposed size of the lot be at 119?
Proposed size of the lot at 119 is going to be 11,586 square feet.
11,500,
That's
and at 121?
121 is 6,535 square feet. 535 square feet.
35 square feet, okay.
The zone, okay, go ahead.
So it's a long, narrow lot,
Yes.
essentially. That's what's causing all these violations.
That's correct.
Okay.
The zoning sub-districts are 1F 9,000, and the zoning violations are as follows. Lot width, lot frontage, the required is 70 feet, we're proposing 60 feet. The FAR is .3, we're at .32 on 119, and at .6 on 121. Side yard setbacks are 10 feet, and we are meeting them at 10 feet on all the sides. With regard to a community process, Madam Chair, we had on June 29th, we met with the Fairmount Civic Association. And then again on July 13th, we had an abutters meeting sponsored by the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. And then again in August, we met with the Fairmount Civic Association again. So we've had 3 or 4 meetings regarding this due to a lot of the concerns and input of the community. The plans were rearranged, and we think we're proposing a proposal that's going to be beneficial to everybody.
These are 3-bedroom units with family rooms in the attic and nothing proposed for the basement.
Yep, that's correct.
How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Brian Flynn with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I want to go on the record in strong support of this project. The applicant and the attorney worked very well with the community. As previously stated, 3 separate meetings, which were adequately attended, and community did show favorable support after they kept coming back and working well with them. So we offer our support.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Walter Applewhite, Councilor Tim McCarthy's office. We'd like to echo the sentiment of the Mayor's office. They work very diligently with the community, and we'd like to go on record in supporting the project.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? These are stick-built?
Yes, they are.
Okay. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with BPOD design review.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? No? Motion carries.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Members of the board, have a good day.
It's now 11:37. I'm going to call the 11:30 rediscussions. Are there any deferrals or withdrawals for 11:30? Address, Counselor?
5 Cipher Street.
For the record, calling BOA 700-987, 5 Cipher Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Attorney Nick Zazula, McDermott, Quilty, and Miller, 28 State Street, Suite 802 in Boston. Here requesting a deferral to this matter due to we're still in discussions with our main abutter regarding the proposed use of the premises. So we'd like a little bit more time to do that.
What is the address?
This is 5 Cipher Street.
May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion for deferral.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The date, please?
December 12th.
Thank you.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 11:30? Address, sir?
Good morning, my name.
Address?
22-24, 20-26 playing field.
Are you going to defer it? Are you deferring or are you going forward?
No, I'm going forward.
We'll call it in record. This is only deferrals or withdrawals. Address, ma'am?
4-6 Auckland Street.
For the record, calling BOA 726-332, 4-6 Auckland Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Kim Jung T. Nguyen, 4-6 Auckland Street. Want a deferral?
And is there a reason for the
We're
request?
still in a process meeting of neighbors and discuss about
Still working it out,
Yes.
okay?
Motion to defer.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please?
You also have a date of December 12th. Okay. Counselor, address?
51 Ollie Street in Dorchester.
Did you said Lawley Street?
What is it?
Yes.
Yes? 710259.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's right in front of me. I have my glasses on. For the record, calling BOA 710-259, 51 Lawley Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, good morning, James Rudser for the applicant, Timothy Johnson. We're requesting a deferral because we have a community meeting actually scheduled for tonight. So if we could go on.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to defer.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The date, please?
We can get you in for November 14th.
Thank you.
That's the earliest.
Okay.
Could we have that December date, if that's
You can have a
available?
December date. You said you want to try to get it there, though. You can have December 12th.
Thank you.
It's going to be a long day. You're all set. We'll see you December 12th.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawal for 11:30 rediscussions? Hearing none, we'll go back to the 10:30 hearings. This is BOA 719-303, 435 Hyde Park Avenue. This is to change occupancy from stores, offices, store, contractor equipment, mechanical and storage, and 4 apartments. Stores and storage equipment and 10 apartments. The violations, Article 67, Section 56, insufficient for parking proposed on lot. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Richard Lins, 1216 Bennington Street, East Boston, on behalf of the petitioner. With me is James Christopher, the architect for the project. The proposal concerns an existing 14,000 square foot lot, which has a existing commercial and residential building, 2 stories. Our proposal is to do a complete reprogramming of that building to add an additional 6 residential units to maintain the commercial use. This will obviously involve substantial upgrades to the life safety and to the building components itself with respect to the additional residential units. The process to date for the community, there was a butters meeting back in August of this year in which a number of items were raised by some of the abutters, including an installation of a fence and the removal of a tree on the property, all of which the developer has no issue with and will comply with. The only violation for this area, because it's in the neighborhood shopping district, involves the off-street parking. By our calculations, based upon the residential units, it's 2 spaces per unit. If you credit out the existing space for the commercial, you're looking at about 20 to 25 parking spaces being required. I believe we're proposing a total of 12 spaces on the site. There is additional space that's used but would not be counted for zoning purposes in an area that's part of the right-of-way.
Tell us about this. Do you anticipate conflict between the storage of contractor equipment and the residential use?
No, Madam Chair. The building has existed this way for some years. It was before the board and has currently a residential component. It's primarily storage of heavy equipment, so the equipment is loaded in the morning and off-site and brought back in the evenings and often on large jobs. So we don't anticipate that the operation of the commercial space, which is existing, will affect the residents above.
And tell us about the residential use.
So the residential use, as I said, exists. There was a mix of offices and residentials approved prior to our involvement in the project. The proposal now is to turn all of those second-level residents and offices into residential units, a total of 10 units that range from 237 square feet to 283 square feet. They're the 9 one-bedroom units. And then there's one two-bedroom unit, which is a total of 500 square.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I think I just missed something. Can you go back to the bedroom units, the bedroom count?
So there's 10 residential units in total. There's 9 one-beds and one two-bedroom unit.
And one two-bedroom, okay, and what's the range of sizes for the one beds?
237 square feet to 283 square feet.
And the two beds?
It's 500 square feet, Madam Chair.
Okay.
What's the size of the one-bedroom again?
They range from 237 to 283, Mr. Pisani.
Is this like a rooming house?
No, they would have kitchenettes and bathrooms.
No, I see that by the drawings in A2, but, I mean, what has it been up until now? What's the occupancy been?
Four residential units and offices.
No, I get that.
Okay.
These are very small units.
Yes.
So I'm curious as to sort of how they've been marketed.
They're occupied mostly with single tenants in the one-bedroom spaces.
Yeah, we've never seen these units this small.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just to give you a heads up. Yeah.
I mean, would you just call them studios?
Yeah, and I think the owner was
Even
trying to.
studios for 200.
No, I agree.
You
That's
know,
why
and these are.
I'm just surprised to see units this small. And they've been that way for a long time?
Yes.
And is there
There's no significant change to the shape of the footprint. of the building.
transiency in terms of the tenants? I mean, I'm curious as to who's been occupying them and kind of what the
I'm not 100% sure on the current occupancy makeup. I know that the owner of the building has owned the building for a long time. I don't believe he has a high turnover rate. I think it's.
So, wait a minute. This building is now being used for equipment storage and for residential. And you're here to get approval for equipment storage and residential. Is that correct?
Correct. We're increasing the unit count.
The unit count goes from 4 to 10 residential units.
Within the space that.
But the existing 4 are illegal.
No. They were approved as residential units. The other units there were office spaces. And we're converting that use.
Where are the existing 4 then?
At the second level.
Can you show us on the plans?
Yeah, it's
If you look at sheet EX2, it shows the existing office spaces with kitchenettes and then the 4 residential units as they exist.
So essentially what you're doing is leaving everything intact, but just taking those 5 office units or 6.
Correct, and making them residential units. And if it's, as far as studio or one bedrooms, I think the owner will be fine with having them as studios. We realize the impact of the small square footage, but the space exists as it is. The commercial office space is underutilized, and I think he has had success renting the residential pieces, so we'd just prefer to extend the use.
It's just unusual.
Sure.
Doesn't mean good or bad, it just means unusual.
I think it certainly offers an affordable option, even though there's not an affordable restriction. It's market rate, but smaller units to get a light.
Historically, this is below the threshold that this board has been comfortable with.
And where exactly on Hyde Park Ave is it? What's the cross street? At Blakemore? Pardon?
Haley Field's on the backside.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And there's clearly no way that this is transportation oriented, so you can't even make that argument.
And the off-street parking requirement, what is being provided and what's required?
We're proposing 12 spaces. We assume that based on our calculations, we'd need 25. If you look at the site plan, you'll see that there's a right-of-way that is currently closed off and not used, which accommodates additional parking. However, for zoning purposes, we can't include that in our tally.
Well, just a reminder that this relief goes with the building. Goes with the building in perpetuity. So, should that become active again, then there's going to be an issue.
Well, that's why we didn't include them in our count of parking, Madam Chair.
Is this Atlantic Drain, the building that's
Yes.
in it? So there's apartments above Atlantic Drain?
Yes.
So I guess the question for us is, so you're providing 12 spaces for the 25, and So it's essentially 2 spaces per dwelling unit. So then, and you're proposing 10 units, and so basically, with 5 units, your parking requirement would be met with these
Correct.
12 units, because that's really, in essence, the only violation you have
Is
for us.
parking, correct.
Yes, but, again, we look at the project in its entirety.
James, is there any attempt to do any architecture at all to this? I'm taking a look at the building, and all you're doing is filling in dwelling units into an industrial building. An industrial building that, I don't know when we approve that or if we ever approve it, but I'm having a hard time thinking that under this board, we even got this far.
At the request of our client, we've worked within the existing footprint. So, Mr. Pisani, I mean, we would...
I understand your constraints.
It's not so much the existing footprint, but, I mean, if you were to have a smaller number of units, knock down some walls and
Sure.
redesign, I mean, was that an option?
I don't think he would be opposed to it. I think he just, within this current layout, that's the target that he asked us to aim for. Correct. I'm happy to discuss it with the client, as always.
I think we're going to help you with that.
Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dan Murphy, Mayor's Office, Neighborhood Services. I'd like to go on record of support. Did have an abutters meeting, and there were no immediate concerns of the abutters. They're all in favor of this proposal.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? Okay, so this is the time for the assistance.
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion for denial without prejudice, okay? And what that does is that requires you to go back and rework it, tell your owner that, or your client, to come back with something that is reasonable and livable. The unit sizes are just so far below threshold. And it's not even, you can't even make the argument that it's transportation related. The guy has adequate use of the property as is, and for the obvious reason, I understand why he's doing it. I won't state it, but...
I'll second that motion.
We just request that whoever the applicant is, that they be a good neighbor, because, there should be a way that this building and this property can be enhanced to support the community. So is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
On the next case, calling BOA 730-716-177 Glen Ellen Road. On an existing parcel with 4,300 square feet, erect a new construction, single-family dwelling. The violation is Article 56, Section 8, insufficient minimum lot area, and Article 56, Section 8, insufficient minimum lot width, Article 56, Section 8, insufficient minimum lot frontage, Article 56, Section 8, excessive FAR, and Article 56, Section 8, insufficient front yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
Patrick Mahoney of Adams and Moranci with an address of 350 West Broadway.
John Harrington, 10 Coniston Road, Roslindale.
So please tell us what's being proposed.
What we have here is an existing lot, an existing parcel in West Roxbury 1F 6000 subdistrict. The lot is 4,312 square feet. There's one parking space required and one being added. The required FAR, we're seeking relief for FAR, is 0.4. We're at 0.53. Additionally, the lot width required is 60 feet, and our lot is 44 feet. And the front yard setback we're cited is a 20-foot requirement, and we have 13 feet, although I do believe from looking at Boston Assessing, not a survey, so I'm just going for Boston Assessing, that it does match existing building alignment.
So you'll be modal, proposed as modal.
Yes, if not very close to it.
Okay, and again, what was the front lot frontage? What's required and what are you proposing?
60 feet, and we have 48 feet.
Okay. And this is an existing lot?
Yes.
It's not a newly created lot?
It's not a subdivision.
Okay. And what's the size of the unit, the proposed unit?
The proposed building, I believe, is 2,300 square feet. I have the plans I submitted. It is not broken out, but from my cursory measurement here, it is approximately 2,300 square feet.
And parking will be?
One parking space, which is in the front right area between the side yard and front yard, as it's 2 spaces are allowed in
So
this
it's a
district.
side driveway,
Correct.
essentially
Yes.
tandem parking?
Yes,
It's not front yard parking?
that's correct.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
Sketchy,
Sketchy. Okay.
adequate but sketchy.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jack Duggan, Neighborhood Services. Just to go on record of support, we had 2 meetings for this back in August. There were some issues with the lot size, but Mr. Harrington afterwards reached out to some of the direct abutters, trying to work with them individually and make some tweaks. Some of them weren't really willing to work with him. He does have 4 support letters for this that I have here, and you know, it's a vacant lot, and the people who are supporting it are, you know, seeing a single-family home on this. You know, they think it would be a benefit to the community. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Shannon Murphy from City Councilor Matt O'Malley's office. The council would like to go on record in support of this project. However, the councilor is aware of some of the neighbors' concerns, and he would like for the developer and the neighborhood to have an open dialogue going forward.
Good morning, Madam Chairman and the board. My name is Donald Kavanaugh. I'm the owner of this property, and I support building a single-family house on it.
Thank you. So this is an existing lot. It wasn't created. Was there an appeal that came before us on this particular property years ago? It's a new appeal.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion.
Hold on. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? If whoever's here to speak in opposition, please line up so we can just understand what your concerns are and get it on the record.
Yes. Good morning. My name is Richard Villani. I live at 185 Glen Ellen Road. I'm a direct abutter to the property. For the 5 violations that are listed, there's certainly reasons for us to be opposed to this, but the severity of these violations is something that we'd like to address. You're asking for 4,300 square feet on a property that's going to be required for us. It should have been 6,000 square feet. If you actually come out and you look at this property, you'll notice that it's severely sloped on the sides and in the back, so that you're far less than 4,300 square feet. So that is a severe violation of the project. The width, again, was addressed. It should be 60 feet. We're talking about 48. The floor area ratio we just heard was 0.53. I think if we take a look at some of these drawings, we can probably tweak that number up significantly to a minimum of probably at least 0.72, which we'd be happy to do.
No, we can't speculate. We have to go by the record.
Okay. The front setback of 20 feet, you're saying 13. No one's addressed the fact that you're going to have a stairway on this building as well, which is going to bring it closer to the building. Okay. Some additional items that we're concerned about is the side yard minimum. Okay. That's not listed here. It should be 10 feet. If you look at the property, you'll see that it's 7 feet on the 185 Glen Ellen side, and you'll see 10 feet on the other abutting side. Okay.
Just one question.
Yeah.
What's the size of your lot?
My lot is approximately 4,300 square feet as well.
Okay. Thank you.
And my property also slopes significantly in the back as well, so I have a very good eye gauge of all of that. Okay. I'm assuming that when you do the side lot measurements, you're measuring from the foundation of the building to the side lot. If you take the overhang of the roof on this property, you're going to bring it another foot closer on both sides. So now you're at 6 feet from the property and 9 feet on the other side. I might add on the side of the building that's 9 feet, okay, that 9 feet actually is running in the walkway of the building. There's no additional space between that building. So if you were in the walkway, you'd be 9 feet away from that. We're concerned about the rear yard, okay? It should be 30 feet, okay? We're nowhere.
That's not a stated violation. The violations,
But if I look at the requirements of what is required in order to build here, this is an additional one that should be required. You need to have 30 feet. You don't have 30 feet out the back. To challenge the height of the building, I believe that you need only 35 feet. I think that the drawings show this building at 34 feet, 2 inches, but that's from the top of the foundation. If you take the foundation to the slab, you can add another 2.5 feet onto this, and you're well in excess of 36 feet, which is a violation. Okay? Living speed. We can talk about backyard occupancy.
listen,
Again, this is a problem.
you know, the experts on citing all these violations it's the building department. So we will go with what the citations by the building department.
I would just like you to know that.
We
in
cannot
addition-
go in speculation or anything else,
Well,
so.
maybe we could ask that if there is some concern about this, that someone should look. These are the very things that you asked for in order to build it.
Okay.
But the neighborhood is built predominantly of 1.5-story capes. There's one two-family building in the area, which happens to be on the piece of property that's abutting this parcel of land right here.
Okay.
We are concerned in the neighborhood about parking, okay? This property, this parcel of land.
Again, parking is not cited as a violation, and so parking will be accommodated on site.
So we cannot address this as a concern for one of the reasons why we're opposed?
You know, the reason that we need to stick to what the cited violations are is because that's what we're judging the project on. There's been analysis already conducted by ISD. So can I hear the next person? Because it looks to me like you've covered the cited violations and stated your concerns about those.
No, I'm looking at it as a person. I'm looking at your, the City of Boston assessing department that states that this is not a buildable lot. Is that something that I can?
We're not arguing here. Let's.
Well, I'm trying, you asked for a reason.
Okay, so.
All right, the neighborhood, the entire neighborhood, contrary to what you may have just heard, everyone in this neighborhood that abuts this property is opposed to it. I have signed signatures here from every one of those people.
Put it in the record. May I hear from the next person? Your name and address, please.
My name is Craig Stepno. I live at 186 Glen Ellen Road across the street. I have concerns about the shadows. I have concerns about everything that's just been put forward. I won't repeat them all, but I'm here to let you know that the support, I don't know where that's coming from because everybody has signed letters against it. Live life.
And what's the size of your lot?
My lot is 5,600 feet, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, my name is Brian Tynan. I'm here on behalf of my father, John Tynan, who owns the property directly across the street at 182 Glen Ellen Road. On top of what's already been brought up here, some of the issues that he would like me to state on his behalf is the potential diminution of home value, loss of privacy due to the fact of the height of the house being directly in front of ours, obstruction of view. The height of the house will also interfere with long-held views that they've had for 42 years of the Charles River Valley below in the hills along Route 128, which was also a selling point to him initially buying the house. The project also calls greater congestion in an already congested area. Mentioned the parking, but I think that's a moot point with you at this point. There's already over-density in the block, amplified by the fact this will be right next to a two-family home. So the combined square footage needed for all of it would be far shorter for the two-family and the lot. I heard earlier that this isn't a new lot. We disagree with that. We think this was subdivided at some point. This house was held for generations under the same ownership, single use for both plots, and should have been merged together rather than subdivided. The house doesn't fit with the character of the neighborhood due to its height and proximity to the street. And we believe that the usable footage of the lot is far lower than said because of the steep decline behind the house. Lastly, he is a caretaker of an autistic child with severe auditory issues. Any drilling would be a severe hamper on a daily basis to this child, as well as further congestion going forward. That's all I have.
Thank you. And what's the size of your father's lot?
Off the top of my head, I think it's Craig helping through. It's over 5,000.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So please respond to the concern about the subdivision. Any track record of when this was subdivided?
No,
Or
ma'am.
if it wasn't, I mean, it might have just, because it sounds like it was all platted at the same time, since the abutter at 185 also has a 4,300 square foot lot.
That's right, Madam Chair. My client tells me that it's been taxed as a separate parcel, and he did not subdivide it, and we don't have any record of that. What I am hearing is the primary form of zoning relief that we're receiving is based around the lot size, and everyone that's spoken opposition thinks that it doesn't fit within the neighborhood, although they all live on a similar sized lot with a similar use and similar parking and similar dimensions. So what is good for them apparently doesn't work here.
It's also hard to build a one-family in a one-family neighborhood. I
Right.
mean, we've noticed that in our history. So given this information, may I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve with continued BPDA design review with specific attention to the developer to continue to work closely with the neighbors.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Calling the next two cases, calling BOA 732-459, 4-10 Coughlin Street. There's a companion case, BOA 732-458, 118 to 122 Tremont Street. This is for 4-10 Coughlin. This is erect a 4-unit townhouse. The violation, Article 51, Section 8, townhouse buildings 4 units is forbidden. Article 51, Section 9, the floor to area ratio is excessive. Article 51, the height is excessive. Article 51, the front yard is insufficient. Article 51, the side yard is insufficient. And Article 51, Section 56, 51-56, off-street parking design. This is for 118 to 122 Tremont. This is Direct A3, townhouse with parking. The violation, Article 51, Section 8, townhouse building is forbidden. Article 51, Section 9, floor to area ratio is excessive. Article 51, the height is excessive. Article 51, the front yard is insufficient. Article 51, Section 9, side yard is insufficient. And Article 51, Section 9, rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Patrick Mahoney of Adams and Moranci with the business address of 350 West Broadway.
D'Artagnan Brown, architect from Embark, 60 K Street, South Boston.
So is this, tell us what's being proposed.
So, Madam Chair, we have two sister applications. It was on one lot with totaling 7 townhouses. It's worth mentioning that in the beginning of this project, we had proposed a single-unit apartment building, excuse me, a single apartment building on the lot with 23 units. And through the long, initially contentious, now less so, neighborhood process, we came to find a need for townhouses appropriate from the community standpoint. What we are proposing, so it's 2 separate building applications because they are not contiguous. On Tremont Street, as the lot is the corner of Tremont and Coughlin, we have 3 townhouses, each approximately 2,300 square feet and 3 bedrooms with 2 parking spaces each over 4 stories. The first story is parking primarily. And along Coughlin Street on the corner is the other 4 townhouses in the same configuration, 3 bedrooms, 2,300 square feet, 2 parking spaces over 4 stories.
What's the zoning?
It's a 2F 5,000 with a lot size, aggregate lot size of just under 13,000 square feet.
And so the violations, part of them is, part of the violations are caused by the fact that the design is townhouse design.
Right.
Versus something else.
Right. It's exactly right.
Tell us how the access to the parking will work.
The access, so off of,
Tell us which drawing to refer to.
so if we refer to A101. There's about 4 or 5 sheets in. There's access off of Coughlin Street that enters into a paved driveway, and then there's 2-car garage per unit. So you drive, and each unit has its own parking garage.
And the parking is on the rear of the building?
On the rear of both sets of buildings, correct.
Okay, and that's access for all parking?
Correct.
Even though they're on separate lots?
So there's a single driveway, correct, and then you turn left to the buildings on Tremont, right to the buildings on Coughlin.
Okay.
You said the lots weren't contiguous.
The buildings aren't contiguous.
Buildings
The
are not.
lots are contiguous. Did I say, I apologize if I misspoke. No, and the buildings don't touch.
Yeah, no,
and
I
they-
understand.
Right.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Warren Riley, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. There were 3 separate meetings in which the project drastically responded to the concerns of the community, and there was favorable support at the outcome of the 3rd and final meeting. And they have support from the Brighton Olson Improvement Association, so we would like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Daniel Polanco, on behalf of Councilor Mark Siomo, would like to also go on record in support. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Jessica Rodriguez from City Council at Large, Anissa Saiba George's office, and the councilor would also like to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, on behalf of City Council at Large, Michael Flaherty, council to go on record in support.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Annabelle Gomes from the Brighton Olson Improvement Association. We'd like to go on record in support. This has been an abandoned lot. We see it as an improvement. It's also for home ownership. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? So this started off as how many units?
23.
23, and you've gotten down to 7?
7 townhouses.
Okay. May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval, BPDA design review for both sites.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
I'll call it one more time for rediscussions for 11:30. Are there any deferrals or withdrawals for 11:30 rediscussions? Hearing none, I'll call the first case, calling BOA 728-276, 22 Albion Place. This is to install a curb cut to a rear patio of the condo unit and provide 2 compact car parking spaces. The violation of Article 10, Section 1, limitation of parking areas, Article 62, Section 62-29, the design, maneuverability, and buffering. Article 62, Section 8, the reduction of a usable open space. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Christian Poyant, Alexander Poyant, 22 Albion Place, unit number 1.
Okay, just, I know that all these cases are here before us for rediscussion. Please tell us why you were deferred to this meeting and what you're proposing and how that proposal has changed to the process.
Okay, we were deferred to the next meeting so a full board vote could be taken. There was some opposition. I will say we've worked best we can
You
to
were
try
at the subcommittee, right?
Correct.
Okay, and okay.
So nothing's changed since that case. We made one small little adjustment to the plan to provide some more room by moving over the parking space a little bit closer to our property at 22. We've also reduced the curb cut from 15 feet to 12 feet, which was recommended by Todd Liming of Public Works. Other than that, nothing else has changed since the subcommittee meeting.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
The drawings are adequate. And we do have the revised site plan that shows a 12-foot curb cut.
Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal? Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, on behalf of Chris Breen, we would like to be newly recorded in opposition to this project. The abutters have continued to raise concerns over the safety and maneuverability of the proposed curb cut, and recently our office has received a number of calls indicating that opposition to the project has increased. That being said, the applicant has completed the community process and has been in communication with their direct abutters and has proposed a number of changes to the proposal. However, at this time, due to the strong opposition, we'd like to be recorded in opposition. Thank you.
Judy, can you come closer to the mic?
He just felt it was too tight in the area. So
Okay.
therefore we could not, he's supposed to.
Thank you.
My name is Mary Corville, and my family has owned 20 Albion Place for 85 years. We are the direct abutter on the property line with the driveway. Myself and all of the abutters oppose. I have the opposition letters and photographs of the site here.
So please, can you highlight your opposition?
Yes.
Without reading to us, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
It's not a driveway. It breaks all of the zoning rules for a driveway. It's impossible for a car to make that tight turn and get in and out of the driveway with permit parking on that street. The street is only 15 feet wide. With the car parked there, it's only 8.5 feet from the tire of the car to the curb. It's bound to lead to damage to the parked vehicles, to the foundation and side walls of my house. The proposed parking space is extremely narrow. It's very close to the side of my house. It will only leave 2.5 feet between the car and the side of my house. That means it'll be impossible to get into the car, and there's potential damage to the side of our house every time the car is open. Also, that is where the kitchen and bedrooms of my house are. There will be idling cars, there will be fumes, there will be carbon monoxide noise and smoke, increased noise. It's a safety issue to the residents of the building. A previous owner tried to get this same variance in 2010 and it was denied. As you know, the mayor's office and the councilor oppose it. And we ask that the zoning board also deny this unsafe variance.
Please, can you put your name and address on the record and give us new information?
Sure. Jennifer Taves, 6 Armory Street, Charlestown, and I'm opposed to the project for pretty much everything Mary just said. Maneuverability in and out of the space is impossible.
Thank you.
Soki Jung, I live in 22 Albion Place, above on their property. And I oppose it because there is no way to turn in and out without damaging the car parked there or the building.
Thank you.
Good morning, Phil Sicky, 8 Armory Street. I'm directly across from 22 Albion Place, and every time they back out of that driveway, they're gonna back right into my car.
Okay.
Natalie Rizzo, 5 Armory Street, and I'm opposed for the same reason. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, given that information, may I have a motion?
Motion to deny.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's the decision.
No opportunity to rebut?
Calling the next case, calling BOA 682-855, 13 Shetland Street.
Madam Chair, I recuse myself.
This is demolish an existing building and erect a 57-unit apartment complex. The violation, Article 50, Section 28, multifamily, 57 units is forbidden in this sub-district of 3F 4000. Article 50, Section 29, insufficient additional lot area per dwelling unit. Article 50, Section 29, excessive FAR. Article 50, Section 29, excessive building height. Article 50, Section 29, excessive number of stories. Article 50, insufficient usable open space per dwelling unit. Article 50, insufficient front yard setback. Article 50, Section 29, insufficient side yard setback. Article 50, Section 29, insufficient rear yard setback. Article 50, Section 43, off-street parking, insufficient. Article 50, Section 43, insufficient off-street loading. Name and address for the record, please.
Patrick Mahoney of Adams and Moranci, the business address of 350 West Broadway.
So, are these the current maps?
They are. These are our handouts. It's also consistent with the P&F that was filed. What we have here, Madam Chair, it is a 3F 4000 zoning subdistrict, and we're proposing 57 residential apartment units with 52 parking spaces. The breakdown is as follows: is studios, there are 27. There are 18 one-bedrooms and 12 two-bedroom
I'm
units.
sorry, there are 27 studios. What's the average square feet?
The,
About 5 1/4.
525? Okay.
in the one-beds, there are 18 with an average square foot of, Mr. Major?
650.
And finally, 12 two-bedroom units.
950.
And how many affordables?
There are 7 affordable units and 5 parking spaces for those units.
Okay. So these are quite a number of violations. Can you walk through them? What's required, what's proposed?
Can I just ask a factual question?
Sure.
What did you say the average square footage of the studios were? The 525?
525.
I'm sorry, 450.
Yeah,
My
I'm
mistake,
looking
my
at
mistake's
A4,
on
right?
A8, the last page.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Yeah, I was mistaken, excuse me.
Okay, so it's 450?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
net square feet, yeah.
Okay. So please speak to all these violations.
Certainly. Again, it is a 3F 4,000 zoning subdistrict. The lot is 31,313 square feet. The use is not allowed as it exceeds a 3-family dwelling unit. But it is very close to the 4,000 if it were for each additional unit, the amount added for each additional unit. It would still be seeking relief if it was allowed in allowed use, but the lot is consistent with what would be appropriate. Again, the minimum lot area per unit is 2,000 square feet, and we have 31,000 square feet. The lot width is 45 feet. We have 163 feet for a lot width. Frontage is the same. The FAR, we are in excess. It's 0.8 is what is allowed, and we have a 1.59, just less than double that amount. The building height, again, is 35 feet, which would be consistent with a 3-family dwelling unit, and we have 55 feet. We have 1 story over what is allowed, also take into consideration height.
The story is 2.5 stories and you're 3.5?
No, it's 3 stories. We are 4 stories.
Okay.
The minimum open space per unit is 650 square feet. We have 13,000 square feet in aggregate and seeking a variance for that purpose. The front yard setback is 20 feet or existing building alignment. We have 8 feet, which is consistent with the neighborhood.
So that's modal.
It's kind of an unusual lot to say that it is modal, but I could say that it's consistent because you measure it from one side of the street, from the public way all the way to the next public way, and we only have 2 other buildings, and they appear to both be on the lot line, but I don't know that it's modal. It's certainly consistent with what is on that side of the street.
Okay.
The front of the building is 15 feet from the curb line.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have side, rear. Tell us about the parking.
There is 52 parking spaces, and two spaces per unit is what's required for over 10 units, and we do have less than that. However, it is a transit-oriented development.
I just want to know what the requirement is before we get the
Oh,
reasoning.
okay. I apologize. It's 2 spaces per unit over 10, so there would be 100 parking spaces required, and we have 52.
And the loading? Loading a violation?
I don't think loading is.
And it looks like, are you subdividing one lot at the corner of Norfolk and Shetland? Is that part of this proposal?
It's not part of this.
It's not part of this proposal.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Bizzani?
Drawings are adequate. Did this go through BCDC?
No.
It went through large project review?
That's correct. It's not 100,000 square feet.
Oh, okay. But it went through large project?
It did, yep. I apologize.
Small project.
Small project review, but Article 80.
Just under 50,000.
So the lot is 39,000 square feet?
Yes.
It's 31,000.
Okay. And what's the size of the building?
49.
Just under 50,000.
49.
49.6.
Yeah, we got it.
But it did go through the Article 80 process.
And how does the parking work?
We have one in and out bay entrance off of Shetland Street. That's all surface parking under the building.
Okay. And there is proposed a gym in there, is that what I'm seeing? A fitness center?
Small fitness room, yes. 3 or 4 pieces of equipment, not large.
Okay.
How many affordables?
7.
And they're all on site?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? And I just wanted to mention, because I'm not sure it was clear, but Mr. Galvin has recused himself from this hearing. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joshua McFadden, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, would like to go on record in support of this project. Since the last deferral, the applicant garnered the support of the abutters on the street, as well as DSNI, as well as New Market Business Association. We have both letters here. I know there were various mitigation measures and concerns from DSNI regarding the lack of affordability on site, as well as traffic and parking, and a deed restriction beyond the 7 units, as well as New Market Business Association notification of traffic changes, the stipulation that there will be no residential street permit parking, as well as the understanding that there will be night loading and noise in the area because it's New Market Business Association. We have both letters on file as well.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Councilor Frank Baker's office would like to go on record in support.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Sue Sullivan, Executive Director, New Market Business Association. We have, I hope you have a copy of my letter that I sent.
Yeah, would you summarize it, please?
Yes, we have stipulations that we will support the project, happy to support the project, with stipulations that we'd like in the zoning Board of Appeal approval, which deal with 3 things. One is that access can't be impeded to our parking and for our vendors and commercial merchants in the area. We don't want any resident parking only requests on that street during daytime hours. We also have requested that any potential changes or discussions on traffic flow to Shetland or Shirley Street going forward, that there be public meetings and that New Market Business Association be involved, and also that commercial and industrial areas have certain inherent noises and sounds and early morning pickups and that kind of thing. The developer, we have been working with Holland Construction to, they will agree that it's a coming to the nuisance, and we are asking that be put into the leases, that the tenants recognize that these situations were going on prior to them arriving.
Okay, thank you.
Do you need a copy of that?
Oh, we have it in the file. Oh, we have it, yes, and I know we received it via email.
Yep, and I think if they'll stipulate to that, which I believe they're happy to do so, we are in support.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? Now, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask about the deed restriction. Can you explain what you agreed to?
The restriction in the leases for avoiding nuisance complaints from the new residential tenants.
I believe there was talk about affordability and deed restriction there.
It's the 7 units.
Okay.
The 7 units under it's not a deed restriction. It's an affordable housing agreement, but it gets codified with the zoning relief.
With 5 parking spaces, correct?
Well, it's 5 is the requirement, but yes.
5 is the requirement.
And items 1 to 3, it's identified by the New Market Business Association. It sounds that all of these need to have some kind of community process organized by the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. So really the one that can be accommodated through this is through the deed restriction.
Right, that and also the nuisance.
And the nuisance.
Nuisance complaints and leases.
Councilman, can you edify me? This is obviously a rental unit.
Yes.
What happens in the future when it becomes condo? I mean, all of those same restrictions are built into the condo documents, is that true?
They could be. They will be if it's in the zoning opinion for certain.
Okay, well, I think it should be added into the zoning opinion.
Okay, I'll make note of that when I write the decision.
Okay, so now's the time. May I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval with continued BPDA design review with special attention given to the deed restrictions and conformance to, and this is rare for us to do this, but conformance to the requirements of the New Market.
Yep.
Let's hold it independent.
Yep. There isn't a deed restriction.
Pardon?
There isn't an actual deed restriction.
But
Because of the
we would
affordable
like-
housing.
But we would like the deed, that there be a deed restriction so that tenants and future owners recognize
In leases.
that.
They requested it in leases.
Leases.
We will do that.
But again, it goes beyond leases.
I can put.
It has to be stated.
I can put it in the zoning decision.
It
For
has
sure.
to be stated in
To
the zoning
further
decision.
encumber the property would be
That it's
difficult.
As part of the decision.
Yep.
And so that, and I need clarity on what that language would look like.
Specifically, tenants relinquish rights to oppose local nuisance that's ongoing in the neighborhood. Meaning,
Tenants / future owners. Doesn't
Right.
that cover it?
to the
At
extent-
residents,
to the,
okay?
right.
And say that again? Tenants / residents.
Tenants
what?
/ residents of the proposed development forfeit their rights to bring a nuisance claim against existing uses in the neighborhood.
But what about owners? Yeah. I mean, because what happens if you conduit?
Residential residents would encumber owners,
Let's
Mr.
put it
Pisani.
residents, so
Yeah,
it doesn't get to
residential residents.
ownership. Okay?
It's irrespective of ownership in that
Is there
way.
a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with those provisos.
Calling BOA 729-433, 22 to 26 Plainfield Street. This is to erect a new 3 single-family residential townhouse with front porch, rear deck on existing foundation on a vacant lot. Proposed for 3 off-street parking. Violation Article 55, Section 9, front yard is insufficient. Article 55, Section 9, the floor-to-air ratio is excessive. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Boris Yablanovsky. I'm here regarding 22-2426 Plainfield in Jamaica Plain, 02130. Lady Jen, oh, sorry.
Tell us what you're proposing and why you had been deferred.
There was completely different project now. It's absolutely new project, absolutely fully redesigned project. It's nothing like it was originally. There was garages over there. There was a three bedrooms. Garages was illuminated. The height was decreased. It was a three units with 3 bedrooms. Now it's 3 units with 2 bedrooms and attic. It means it's a fully redesigned unit project.
Mr. Pisani, have the new drawings?
Yes, I mean everything was presented and approved and cooperated with Stony Brook Neighborhood Association, JP.
Hold on, does Mr. Pisani have new drawings?
We have a zoning letter of refusal dated May 25th, 2017. Is that the basis of your presentation, or what has changed since that?
This letter.
What I'm really saying is that with all the changes that you've made, has ISD written you a new zoning letter?
Do you have an architect?
Yes, I do.
Where's your architect?
Next to me.
Will you please put your name and address on the record and respond first to find out if Mr. Pisani has the most recent drawings?
Yeah, Paul Upcarrion Architects in Westboro. I was brought in, the project was originally designed and built. It was actually demolished after some reason. I was brought in after that. So I redesigned the building based on meeting with their neighborhood and Jamaica Plain zoning, and we got everything approved that way.
When did that happen?
We went through the process over the last year. We got everything approved by the neighborhood committee and Jamaica Plain zoning probably, I think, 6 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but there was a deferral on this. The applicant requested a deferral the last time. Was there a reason for that request?
I never filed deferral, I'm sorry. The last time when I was here, no, my architect, the first time was me.
Is the most recent set of drawings that you did, the redesign, have those been submitted as Mr. Pisani?
Yes.
What's the date on that?
I mean, I'm afraid
Hold on, I need the architect to respond.
I was filed them. That's the reason why I tried to
So,
respond.
because we just need to make sure that the
Yes.
architect's drawings.
Yes.
What's the date, Mr. Pisani?
It's supposed to be here. Oh, I'm sorry.
I know you're anxious, but let's
I'm
get
sorry
this
for
on the
that.
record. What's the
Okay,
date?
so the issue date of the drawings is 1/10/17, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and so therefore, this letter from ISD, which is dated May 25th, 17, is reflective of your drawings.
Correct.
And which
And
is,
there have been no changes since then?
Correct.
Okay.
and
thank
Mr.
you.
Pisani, does that show three units, 2 bedrooms each?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Okay. And so your violations are front yard and FAR.
Correct.
Okay, so tell us what's required and what you're proposing.
There was a 3 garages which was eliminated. Instead of them, it's a parking spot. 2 on the left side on the unit on the lot, 1 of the right side on the unit, and one parking spot of the street. It means no garages.
Bob, you have a minute? Because one of the questions comes about is that you have a curb cut at the corner of Plainfield and
20 feet from the corner.
which, what is the distance?
It's gonna be 20 feet from
Well,
Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal? Hold on, Mr. Pisani. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, on behalf of Alex Valdez, we would like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Is anybody here to speak in opposition? Okay, so what's the conclusion, Mr. Pisani?
Department of Transportation says there is sufficient distance from the corner of Brooklyn for the curb cut that is on Plainfield.
Okay. Okay, and the architect, please, what's required on the FAR and what's being proposed?
I don't remember these numbers, but I know it's on the side. There's not a parking on the street. I mean, that stays.
Talking about the FAR. Okay.
Okay, so the FAR required is 0.8. So what is your FAR? That's what the question is.
We were at 1.1.
1.1,
Yes.
okay. Okay. Bob?
Madam Chairlady, members of the board, Madam Chairlady, members of the board, Bob D'Amico, Boston Transportation Department. I just want to make sure, there's no signals at this intersection, right?
That's
No,
correct.
no signals.
signals,
No
okay.
signal.
So may I have a motion, please?
Motion for approval with continued VPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Did you, Anito, need BTD review? Okay, there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Sorry. Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Call the next case, BOA 738-439, 99-103 Savin Hill Avenue. This is the change occupancy to include a veterinary clinic. The violations, Article 65, Section 15, animal hospital is forbidden. Name and address for the record, please.
Patrick Mahoney at Adams and Moranci, the address at 350 West Broadway.
Tell us what's being proposed.
We have proposed as an existing chiropractor's office that's non-conforming, and the new tenant seeks to put a veterinary clinic, which is a conditional use permit is required.
Why were you deferred the last time?
I was deferred because I didn't go to Columbia Savin Hill,
Okay. And you did?
and I have.
Okay.
I have a question. Perhaps you can help me.
Yes.
The set of drawings that we have in front of us are prepared by,
Doug Stefanoff?
no, Design Development Consultants. And then, but the little handout that you gave me is prepared by Stefanoff. So which set of drawings do we go by?
It should be only Doug Stefanoff's drawings, Ms. Pisani.
Yeah, the magnifying glass.
No, I haven't seen the other drawings. I could, is it the same store plan?
You've got to know that we're not as young as we used to be.
No, I apologize.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not as young as I used to be. Okay, so this is, how many square feet is this business?
It's approximately 1,000 square feet, and what you have before you is a drawing for two spaces. Only the space on the left is being utilized as a veterinary clinic and seeking the relief.
Okay.
The drawing A201 shows the hashed area is not in contract, and then there's 3 clinical rooms that are existing. There's no work to be done. They were used previously by the chiropractor and now will be used for veterinary purposes.
Okay. And are there residential units above?
Nope, this is it.
No,
It's just a
single
conditional use.
story.
Yeah.
And what's the zoning district?
It's it's Article 65. I believe it's a neighborhood shopping district.
It's an NS, okay. And you've seen the plans, Mr. Pisani? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
This is the Panoff's drawings are adequate. Now we'll figure it out.
Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is David Cotter from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Would like to on record in support. I held an on-site meeting for this project. All of the abutters expressed their support for the project as well. They did meet with the Columbia Savin Hill Civic Association. However, due to scheduling conflicts, the general membership were not able to vote on this project. They did present before the Planning Committee, who has taken a position of non-opposition because the general membership has not voted. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with no BPDA design review.
There's no grates or anything on the building?
There's nothing. There's no work whatsoever.
Okay, so straight approval. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Calling the next 2 cases, calling BOA 715-061, 89 Savin Hill Avenue. There's a companion case, BOA 715-060, 89 Savin Hill Avenue. This is to add a new bathroom, laundry playroom, and home office in the basement as part of Unit 1. The violation of Article 65, Section 9. The floor-to-area ratio is excessive. There is building code, section, the 8th edition, 780 CMR 705.81, allowable openings. Openings are not allowed in exterior walls where the fire separation distance is less than 3 feet. Name and address for the record, please.
Harold Raymond, 998 Metropolitan Ave, Milton.
Salvador Rosa, 89 Savin Hill Avenue, owner.
As is our usual case, we go first to address the building code. So tell us what is happening on
The
that.
building code, we're waiting for the surveyor to complete the survey of the property. So that's
Okay,
should-
so we'll just deny building code
Yeah.
relief because you can work around that. I mean,
So is there a
design
second?
solutions.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's get to the zoning relief requested.
Okay, this past month, we had a butter meeting with the abutters. We passed out a petition of support for Sal's renovation. We did also meet with the Savin Hill Columbia Road folks. They were in support long as we had signatures from the abutters around the property.
So this is an extension into the basement. What's the floor to ceiling height?
Floor ceiling height's 9 feet.
9 feet, okay. And what's the use in the basement?
Basically, we have a bedroom and Sal's office in the lower level there.
And that's a home office, no
Yeah, home office.
clients or anything. And this is a one family?
It's a 3-family.
It's a 3-family, okay. How are the plans, Mr. Pisani?
The drawings are adequate. So you're on the first floor then, right?
Yes.
And you're extending, okay, thank you. Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is David Cotter from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support of this project. We also held an on-site abutters meeting. All the abutters in attendance expressed their support for the project. Similar to the last project, the Columbia Staten Hill Civic Association general membership has not had a chance to vote it because of scheduling conflicts. However, their planning committee did vet the process and has taken a position of non-opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you.
Calling BOA 683-450, 15 Wilson Street. This is to change occupancy from a 3-family to a 4-family and renovate and install sprinklers. And this is to legalize the existing condition. The violation is Article 60, Section 40. Parking is insufficient for additional unit. In Article 60, Section 8, a multifamily is forbidden in a 3F 6,000 subdistrict. Name and address for the record, please.
Cecil Hansel, 146 Cedar Street, Boston, Mass.
So, Mr. Hansel, tell us why you were deferred the last time and what has changed in the meantime.
We didn't have parking. We now have parking on the adjacent site of 4 parking spaces.
And on the adjacent site?
Yeah.
So that's going to be, how are we going to codify this so that 10 years from now there's no discussion that that's the parking for this site?
Well, there's a curb cut that allows the cars in and there are 4 spaces accordingly.
Does Mr. Pisani have new plans?
Pardon?
Does Mr. Pisani have new plans?
Yes, he does.
The last set of plans I have were on the 15th of August. And I think you've made the changes since then, do you have?
Yeah.
Let me have it, so.
The changes to the building or the parking?
The parking.
Yes, I have.
Maybe she comes over.
And is that parcel in the same ownership? How does it work?
Okay.
And is the proposal to combine the lots?
Yes.
It will be combined? Okay. I see we may have a concern about that, Mr. Pisani?
Oh, let me pass it down. I mean, it only works if the lot is combined, but that's not before us. How are we going to do it?
So may I recommend something? It's great to see that that there will be parking being proposed. I wonder if it makes sense for you to defer this case one more time and come in with an application that proposes to combine the lots so that there is assurance that everything is taken care of, and to adjust the parking so that they're not bang smack against the street. There's a way of the vehicles being able to maneuver clearly. How's that?
Well, we plan to drive onto the parking lot off the street for all 4 units.
Well, that's not necessarily a good thing for the neighborhood. So that's why I'm suggesting that you try and look at a way to combine Lot B and Lot C into one lot.
It already is, but go ahead.
But it looks like, right now, what's before us, it looks like it's 2 different lots.
Okay.
Okay, so we just need assurance that they're combined into one lot and that the parking is designed so that it's more towards the side property line, okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay?
Well, maybe we could give Ms. Hansel a little bit of direction. Number one, the city will not allow you to have a 50-foot curb cut. Okay? You can't have all 4 cars right up against the other side. So what you have to do is come up with a scheme that has no more than a 12-foot curb cut, brings the cars in and parks them perpendicular to that curb cut. Okay? And at the same time, you have to combine the lots. So so that we have the house and parking on one big lot.
Okay, so figure out with so Mayor, Walter, did you want to speak?
Well, I wanted to reach out to the applicant. I'm not sure there was a community meeting on this, and I didn't know if you reached out to the mayor's office to have a community meeting.
Yes, there was a community meeting.
What was the date of the community meeting?
I can't be sure.
Okay, so let's make sure we give you enough time to work everything out on the design front and with the mayor's office and with the councilor's office, so that when you come before us, we have a complete package, okay? So may I have a motion for deferral? Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? A date, please?
December 19th.
Okay, we'll see you then. In the meantime, John, can you help Mr. Hansel just get all this together?
Calling the next case, calling BOA 730-816-82 Cummings Highway. This was brought to the small board. We recommended they come in front of the larger board here. They would like to convert a home office and 2 existing rooms of an existing one-family and add a sign of the company on the front lawn. The violation, the office will be a mortgage company. The violation is Article 10, Section 2, accessory use restriction in a residential district. Name and address for the record, please.
Elba Rojas, 82 Cummings Highway.
Is your husband going to speak?
Yes, this is my husband.
Andre Brado, 82 Cummings Highway.
Okay.
We occupy the property and we would like to do a home office.
So this is, you gave us a lot of information, so the rest of the board has not heard it. So this is a one-family dwelling.
This is.
So to explain to them, please, what's being proposed.
So we occupy the property. We want to use 1 or 2 rooms in the first floor to be able to see clients. Of course, we're not going to have high traffic. It's probably going to be 1 client per week because we do a lot of computer work and a lot of phone communication with clients. So we would like the board to approve us to have that home office and be able to operate there as well as live there.
From my recollection of the plans, it looks like you were converting your living room and your dining room into this home office.
Correct.
So you'd have just the kitchen and the residences the units, the bedrooms upstairs.
Yes. Now, from the dining room, we're still using it as a dining room. Okay, but we're able to sit there with whoever we need to see.
I see. Okay. So basically, it's the conversion of the living room into an office. And you also requested a sign. Is that still part of the proposal?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a community process?
Yes, ma'am, and everyone was aboard.
Okay.
And the business is a mortgage company?
Yes, sir.
How are the plans, Mr. Bazzani?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Do you have a proposed size of the sign that you would like?
We have a picture that we've provided, but there's one here.
And so it would be 18 by 36. 18 high, 36 double-sided.
Small sign.
Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal? Is anybody here in opposition? Is anybody here from the mayor's office to speak either in support or in opposition? There's silence. Okay.
Motion for approval. We are BPDA design review for sign.
Can we do it to this applicant only?
To this applicant only.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You're all set with that proviso.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
This is the call of the chair. Calling BOA 696-619-303 Paris Street. This was the change actually to include a wireless telecommunications facility, install 9 new wireless antennas and 6 RRU concealed behind a screen wall enclosure on an existing roof of a church rectory, and painted to match the building, and install equipment, cabinets, gas generator, and associated cables. The violation is Article 86, Section 6. Any antenna in a residential district is a conditional use. Name and address for the record, please.
Attorney Daniel Glissman, Prince Lobel Thai, 1 International Place, 3700, Suite 3700, Boston, Mass.
So tell us why you're back as call of the chair.
We came back after a request by the board that we work through the design with the BPDA and get their sign-off and approval on a revised design and bring it back to the board for final sign-off. I believe you held your signature on the decision until final sign-off.
So which drawings should we be looking at?
So I just handed a set of photo simulations and clipped drawings together. That is both the BPDA revised and approved plans together with the mock-up photo simulations. We've reduced the size of the footprint of the cabinet by 2 feet, which works out to about 16 square feet. We've also reduced the height of it by 1 foot, and it's now going to be, instead of a faux chimney, it's a faux penthouse with a hipped roof. And we've actually also we changed out the antenna equipment on the interior. Previously, we were proposing an 8-foot antenna and 2 6-foot antennas. Now we're proposing about 3. They're all about 5 feet antennas.
So everything will be enclosed in this penthouse?
Correct.
And what's the material for the penthouse?
It's a fiberglass material that allows for the radio frequency waves to transmit through it. And then we painted a light gray color per the recommendation of the BPDA.
So I'm looking at Z3, which is the penthouse unit that we're looking at?
I think, so take a look at drawing 6, photo simulation 6.
Yeah, I think it's the pitched up. Yes, I see that, but I'm just, because
So-
it looks like future site support cabinets, there's 2 of those proposed.
Yeah, that's actually at the ground level. So the cabinets, so if you're looking at sheet Z3, to the left-hand side, you'll see the proposed faux penthouse is right almost in the center of the existing building, and it contains the 9 proposed antennas. Then there's a cable tray connecting it, which goes across the roof and then down the side of the building to a screened-in enclosure. It's a steel pad for the actual computer equipment that supports the antennas.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And if you look at the elevation sheets as well, I think Z4 through 6, you'll see a better depiction. Yeah, exactly. If you flip to Z4, you'll see a good view of the proposed penthouse cable tray and equipment pad.
Excellent. Any questions of the applicant by the board?
No.
May I have a motion, please, then?
Motion for approval with continued BPDA design.
Continued?
Yes, continued.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
Madam Chair, that concludes concludes today's meeting. With that, we have the hearings on the Zoning Advisory Subcommittee, which was held on September 21st. We're going to go over those right now. Case BOA 730-899, 362 Sumner Street. Was to confirm occupancy as a single family and change occupancy to a 2-family, add a pitched roof and dormers. It was approved with BPDA design review and no, this is a proviso, that no building code relief. The next case, BOA 717-699, 182 West 8th Street, was approved. It was to remove deck and add a new egress. Case BOA 733-748, 40 Creighton Street, was off-street parking for 1 vehicle. It was approved with BPDA. Case BOA 726-332, 4 to 6 Auckland Street was deferred, and she also deferred today. Case BOA 731-287, 10 Belton Street, was to build an addition to be handicapped accessible at the rear of the home. It was approved with BPDA. Case BOA 731113, 11 Ellis Street, was to erect a third level by adding 2 dormers on one on each side. It was approved with BPDA. Case BOA 700976, 41 Myopia Road, was have a second floor. This project is allowing to conform to a home on the street. It was approved with BPDA. Case BOA 702-333, 207 Savannah Avenue, was an extend living space to the basement, extend 2-family residential dwelling. It was approved. Case BOA 736-617, 68 Louders Lane. It was to add a master bath of a first floor, a sun porch. It was approved with BPDA. Case BOA 730-816, 82 Cummins Highway. It was deferred to the full board, which we just heard today and approved. Case BOA 729-723, 23 to 25 Chestnut Square. It was denied without prejudice for a no-show. Case BOA 736-605, 36 Maxfield Street, was a reconstruction of a porch, was approved with BPDA. Case BOA 735-990, 275 to 277 Summit Avenue, was deferred to the small zoning board on 10/26 at 5 o'clock. And the last 2 cases were the rediscussions, BOA 728-876, 22 Albion Place, which was deferred, was also deferred again today. And case BOA 721-551, 20 Chapin Avenue, was to confirm a existing one-family dwelling. It was approved with BPDA. That concludes the Zoning Advisory Subcommittee.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.